Hello and welcome back. My guest today is Chris Triantopoulos. He's a sponsored athlete, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt. He's also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach, and he does combat sports commentating as well. In this episode, expect us to dive into gym loyalty, dealing with abusive parents expecting too much of their children, the inverse of that, the participation award generation and what it's doing to society and our kids, gym elitism, cooperation versus competition, betraying sponsors or the inverse, navigating growth, and just the future of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as a collective. Now, the reason I'm doing this intro is because you'll hear a bit of a humming noise the first 10 minutes. It annoyed me listening back. I can't do anything about it. It clears up after the first 10 minutes. The last 10-ish minutes, we had some video issues. So apologies for that. We are getting better every time. And I guess I'll leave with this quote. It's not about getting it right. It's about being a little less wrong every time you try. Now, with that, I give you Chris Triantopoulos. I hope you enjoy this one. Peace. I'm ready.
Fucking great. Let's do it.
Chris Trio.
Yes, or Chris Triantopoulos if you want to get it proper.
Chris Triantopoulos.
Yes.
Welcome to Not Your Thoughts.
Hey, man, I'm excited to do this, dude.
This is good.
Fun. Yeah.
You're doing everything, man. Everything jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, dude, I'm trying. Jiu-jitsu is one of those things that it can either be a hobby or you can let it take over your life.
Yeah.
I always tell people, and I don't know if it's the best analogy, but jiu-jitsu is like a drug. You take it, you enjoy it, but if you keep taking it, you get addicted, you get hooked, and it takes over your whole life.
Yeah, but the outcomes are much better than, than the heroin.
Yeah, no, 100%. Except, the body's still broken, injuries, all that. So, yeah, there's pros and cons to. So not to both.
To both. Yeah, I'm sure yeah.
Yeah, shit. Off to a great start.
Also, my fellow podcast brethren.
Yeah, man. Like, dude, what you're doing with this podcast, the setup, all that, dude, good on you, man.
Thank you.
Because it is a lot of hard work.
Yeah, man.
And you're pumping what, like almost an episode a week?
Yeah, we're just consistently a week at this point.
On top of a full-time job.
Yes. Yeah. Man, and that's the thing. I'm like, wait, this is work. Like, I'm finishing work and I'm like, fuck, I got to edit. Or like literally mates want to go out or family, friends. I'm like, I'm sorry, I got to edit. Like, I understand the like, oh, you can do the thing you love and that whole shebang.
Yeah.
But it's true, it's work. But I'm like, wait, I love this. I'm really enjoying this. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's consuming, man.
One thing I just want people who are listening is just to appreciate the amount of work that does go into a podcast.
Yeah, man.
Because I sit there, I edit, you sit there, you go through yours, you edit. People just see the finished product.
Yeah.
They don't see what goes into every single episode. And to be able to do it weekly, man, kudos. I've slowed down.
Yeah.
I can't keep up.
Yeah.
Like, I've still got, I think 3 episodes I need to still edit, post. Just because I got a puppy, man.
Yeah, no, it's fair. And I think I'm curious to actually ask you, because I feel like with this podcast, have the luxury of, I'm definitely not being lazy with it, but I get to approach it with a genre change. So I get to kind of sit back and let the person almost kind of narrate the story and kind of go through it. How are you going to do that with jiu-jitsu being the theme? How many branches can you go?
So I've already started with specific jiu-jitsu guys.
Yeah.
I've branched out slightly. For example, I got a guy named Marco Tobre on who is a PT.
Yes.
But he was able to give, PT advice, supplement advice, diet advice towards jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So I feel like you can almost get nearly anybody on and spin it to benefit jiu-jitsu, if that sort of makes sense.
No, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the fitness realm.
Yeah, anyone in the fitness industry, really, you could get on and, I won't branch out to get bodybuilders on. That's a whole different thing. But nutritionists, PTs, anyone of that sort, come on board.
Yeah, man. Have you noticed changes in yourself since doing the podcast? Because like by nature of it, one, we're just posting things online. We're posting our thoughts online. It's that alone is daunting. And two, it's kind of like, as you said, in the editing, you're kind of just listening back to yourself and you're just analyzing your own speech and the ums and the ahs and the times you cut someone off when you shouldn't have. Like, how's that experience been for you?
Man, it's improved so much from episode 1 to whatever it is now, and even talking online, commentating, everything. Man, you learn patience. Because I found at the start it was back and forward, but it was too quick. It felt rushed, and you don't really get to absorb anything, and you're like, fuck, the episode's finished. But nothing was really said. Man, that's, slowing things down, minding my arms and ahs, being okay with silence.
Huge.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
Because I find I do sales as well at the gym, so there's that old saying that whoever speaks first loses.
Okay.
In a selling aspect, like when you're trying to sell something, but same thing in a conversation, you can let it settle for a second. It doesn't always have to be go, 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 go. You can let shit absorb, take your time with it. And I think that's what's helped with the podcasting and commentating, coaching, all that sort of stuff is it's okay to be quiet.
Yeah.
To you, it might seem like it's forever in silence. The outside viewers, they've got no idea. It's normal.
Yeah, it's sometimes an interruption even when I'm listening back to myself and I'll either jump in or I'm saying too many ums and yeses. It's like you can nod because it's in a normal conversation, it's okay because you're affirming to the other person, I'm listening, I'm paying attention. But this is a production, this is content. So when someone's talking, you don't always need the, yep. Man, it's so hard not to, though.
The last one, I did one of them, I can't remember who it was with, and I'm listening it back and I'm cringing the whole way through because I just hear you going, yep. And I go, Chris, just shut the fuck up,
bro,
man.
Yes.
Dude. Oh, man. But again, that just comes through experience.
Yeah.
I reckon if we listen to Joe Rogan's first ever ones, you'd be like, it's a bit, He only did it off a webcam. You saw, I don't know if you've ever seen his first podcast.
Not the OGs, no.
Man, you go to that, he's just sitting in a webcam, computer, him and his mate are just talking shit. And I'm like, oh, fucking not bad. He's done all right for himself.
Yeah.
But I think it all just comes down to experience, man.
And the other thing is as well, I feel like I almost want to recommend everyone to start a podcast. Not literally, but almost literally. Because if I say, hey, start a podcast, and a lot of people's responses will be, no, I can't do that. It's like, ask yourself, why can't you do that? What is it about yourself that you feel isn't worthy of capturing and putting in a public perspective as well? And
even if you don't release it.
True,
just
exactly.
Just record it, hear yourself back, and then, you'll learn from that. And if you want to put it out, put it out. It's free.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, it's not expensive to put a podcast out. Yes, the equipment and all that is, but if you just want to record yourself and put it up, man, do it.
Yeah.
Only good things are going to come from it.
I feel that, man. And in terms of like the thing you're talking about, slowing down and keeping the pace, that also is something I feel I've learned. It depends who the person is as well. Sometimes it's just a good heightened conversation and it's ping pong. You're just bouncing off each other.
Yeah.
And then if you bring that energy to someone who's more chill, the discrepancy kind of shows a bit. I feel like analyzing the person in front, not analyzing, that sounds kind of fucked, but like, feeling the energy almost and
almost mirroring.
Yeah.
I think that's a technique as well, though. Like, again, going back to the whole sales thing, mirroring someone.
Oh, true.
There's some other ones as well, like it's skipping my head now. But yeah, mirroring's one of them. Repeating the last word back to them, the last couple of words to make it seem like you're listening to them as well. So there's a whole bunch of stuff out there.
Yeah, you gotta do like the head turns with them and stuff.
Yeah, you blink twice, get them to blink back at you. All
like
that
we
sort
are
of
one.
Yeah,
we are friends. Now buy this fucking
buy this
turtle or something. Why jiu-jitsu, man? Because it seems like you really love it, man. Is love the right word? Where'd the love come from?
Now, yes. When I first started, I can't remember if I've said this one before, but basically the reason I got into jiu-jitsu was to get with my fiance.
I have heard this.
Yeah,
I like this one.
I did not start jiu-jitsu for any other reason other than pussy.
As a man should.
Yeah, no, I didn't do it for self-defense. I didn't do it for confidence because, man, I was a gym junkie not a bodybuilder, but like a guy that went to the gym and my whole thing was gym.
Yeah.
So I felt like a mad dog. I'm like, man, I'm jacked, I'm big, do all that. Then, I was trying to chase my Mrs. Felicia now, and we used to date in high school.
Yeah.
We broke up, as you do. You don't, 16 years old, years pass, and then I see her again at a music festival that I went to.
Okay.
And I'm like,
well, you just started.
Yeah, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And then, we hung out a little bit, but, we never went further than that. We never dated again. But I was like, I actually really want to get back together.
Was there something was there a tension from the past that you're worried to kind of go back? Or
No, I wanted. She was like, no, you're a douchebag.
Yeah,
like,
right.
as in, I'm this typical, stereosonic kind of guy that's there and, singlet, shirts off, all that. And she goes, I don't want that.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, how do I change this perception? And I knew that she was working at a jiu-jitsu club.
Yes. Yeah.
And she was away for a little bit. Like she went to the Philippines or holiday or whatever. And I'm like, I'm going to sign up.
I'm horny as.
Yeah. I'm going to go hug a bunch of dudes and try to get a woman. So I walk in there and...
what a fucking paradox, bro.
Oh, dude, I get in there and I look at it, I'm like, they're wearing pajamas.
Cats are sweating everywhere. And
yeah, and I go, this is weird. And then they're all just hugging and I'm like, this isn't fighting. Everyone's just grappling. And I get on there and I was a pretty strong guy. So the first 2 dudes I rolled with, I kind of had a little bit of my way with them. They were probably taking it easy. And I was that wipeout spaz. It was like, I'm going to get
true,
you.
Bro.
And I got my way with them. And then I'm like, this is actually pretty easy. Jiu-jitsu. All right. Then I rolled with this girl. Went quite hard. I don't know. I didn't mean to. Whatever happened, I think I hurt her.
Snapped her elbow.
Yeah, snapped her. I think I dropped an elbow or something. I don't know. And then the coach at the time, he's like, all right, we'll roll. And I'm looking at him, this dad bod looking guy, and I go, yeah, not much of him. I'm fine, brown belt. I'm like, I have my way. Whoa, did I get fucked up.
Yeah.
Man, knee rides and pressure and just messed me up to the point where I don't think he wanted me to sign up.
Oh, really?
It was like, yeah, you know, that gym was a bit like that. It was
that really set the image, actually.
Yeah, and what happened was I did sign up. And to him, he didn't know about my reasons. He's like, well, this guy's like, something's going on there. And then, you know,
he must be going through something.
Yeah, he went to Felicia. He goes, look, I tested him. It was either going to be, you know, we beat him up and he leaves, or we beat him up and he looks at himself and he wants to change his character and he's going to come back a better man. And he came back.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
this guy's got something.
Yeah, this guy wants to improve. And I came back and I trained and I kept training and he's looking at me going, what a transformation. So that helped Felicia go, you know what, he's a nice guy.
But that's actually true. Like it sounds like it was fake it till you make it almost.
Yeah, and it worked. Like in the end, it did slowly start to, well, I kept training and then, you know, no matter what in jiu-jitsu, you will become a better person, I believe, if you have what it takes to keep going. So many times I could have gone, nah, I don't need this. But man, yeah, at the start, it was tough. It was rough. Yeah, I don't know why I kept going
constantly,
back.
well, it's always humbling. Like there's always an experience where, yeah, there's the days you're fucking killing it, and then the other days where you're like, oh shit, like I'm just getting fucking pummeled.
Yeah.
But like I think the humbling experience is like, for me at least, I've just recently started getting into it, to be honest, because I feel like I can't be staying on the outskirts forever. I gotta dive in. I'm going to comps and just like judging people. Like, wait, no, I gotta. No, I'm joking, but like, every time I've watched a comp, I just feel invigorated. I'm like, I need to be out there. Yeah. Like, I need to really actually test myself.
Yeah, dude, it's great. Like, just going out there and you're having that humbling experience of like, dude, I got no idea what I'm doing. And excuse me, at the start, it's weird in the sense of, you look at it, you're like, you know, you go to the comps, you see it, you go, jiu-jitsu doesn't seem that hard. It's not until you try it. And you do it, and you go, man, like, blue belts, I remember when I was a white belt, blue belts were like gods.
Yeah.
I'm getting absolutely destroyed by them. And then, you know, you get your blue belt, and you're like, I don't have these godlike powers. Yeah, you're like, hey, what's going on? But then the purple and the brown, and you go, man, I'm never going to get to the top of the hill. And I've been doing it 10 years, and I'm still not there. You know, it's one of those, it teaches you patience. Yeah. It teaches you resilience. It teaches you so many awesome things in life that you can just take to any other aspect, work, relationships, all that sort of stuff. Because really, when you're stuck under somebody's knee right, man, you got no time to think about the other stresses in your life. Literally, you're trying to literally survive this moment right now. Yeah. So it's therapeutic. It's great.
And it's also like in my experience, I don't know if meditative is the right word, but it really centers you with your body. And like to do well, you kind of need to feel your own weight distribution. Where's my weight? Where's the other person bracing? Where are they gonna brace if we do the next move? So there's the chess match happening if you have the time to even think, while at the same time grounding yourself in your body, knowing how much strength do I have left? Am I wasting that energy on that move right now? I could see why there's so much to learn, and little things like just like if my trainer like, you'll be doing something wrong, and it'll just be like, yeah, just move your hips slightly that way, and the whole thing changes. Like, what the fuck? Like,
man, you hit the nail on the head. It is a cliche saying where jiu-jitsu is like a human game of chess. But the way I tell people is, when you first get started, you're going to play chess with maybe 2 pawn pieces. Yeah, that's it. The guy you're rolling with probably has a whole chess set.
Yeah, he's got an arsenal, yeah.
You're going to get beat. But maybe on that rare day, you might get that chance to beat him with those 2 pawns. It might not happen, but you get lucky and you win. It won't happen again. But that one time, but then the more you train, you get more pieces on the board. And then eventually you can have a competitive match with that guy.
Yeah, that's true.
So the more you train, the more pieces you're putting on that chessboard. So yeah, jiu-jitsu.
I really like that. I really like that. It feels like, it really is a battle. But that's the other thing as well. How do you stay? Are you always motivated? Like,
no.
Yeah, because jokes aside, there's time I'm like, do I really want to go and get fucking sweated on? I don't want to touch people. You know what I mean? And you're just, to do it well, you need to be sticky. You need to, close the distance. And I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah, no, I agree. On the mats, you're on the mats, man. You got your face in the groins and assholes in your face. Like, it's disgusting. Off the mats, man, you hug me and I'm like, get away from me. Like, off the mats, like, don't touch me. On the mats, it's all fine and funny games. Yeah, it's fine. But that's why you get desensitized to it. Like, you don't look at it like that on the mats. Yeah. But off the mats, even I feel weird grappling with people dressed like this. True, I'm like, weird. Like, I don't know. I'll just stick to the mats. Going back to what you were saying about motivation, man, I got an injury now. Like, my shoulder's a little bit sore, but I'll still go. I'll work around it. But yeah, I'm not motivated, just discipline. Yeah. And you've heard that, where they say it's not motivation, it's discipline. Or I don't know how the saying goes, but you just got to stick to a structure.
Yeah. It's the structure, yeah.
But you need to find a structure that's going to suit you. If you, like, I always tell the new members at the gym, I go, you're in the honeymoon period right now. You started, you love it, you got all that energy to do it. Yeah. Do not come in every day of the week.
Interesting.
I say don't do it, because what happens is you will burn out because you haven't learned how to be efficient yet. You haven't learned how to breathe properly. You haven't learned any techniques yet. So every time you come to training, you're just going to be smashing on. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get injured. You're going to get sick. Yeah. So I go, look, you're in the honeymoon period. You love it. I want you to keep loving it in 6 months to 12 months. Yeah. If you go too hard now, you will not come back. And you see it all the time. People quit 3 to 6 months in. A lot of the times injuries, the motivation disappears because they've just gone so hard that they've burnt themselves out. Always be hungry. Yeah. Do maybe 2-3 times a week and miss it at the end of the week. Be keen to come back. Don't overdo it at the start and then hate jiu-jitsu. I think that goes with anything that you start with too. Because you always get that first couple of months where you're like, I'm going to fucking do it every day and your life depends on it. And, but that doesn't last forever.
Bro, like the word honeymoon, it's like perfectly translates onto a relationship as well. If you go in so early, fucking in this, like, I don't know, passionate heat overly, like in the honeymoon phase, you feel the drastic drop off after. Yeah. I feel like if you can, in the honeymoon phase, pace yourself, control it, you've just explained it in jiu-jitsu, but it perfectly applies. It will, in my, what I think is, it'll just last longer if you prolong the honeymoon phase by not just fucking indulging it completely right off the bat. Yeah.
I don't know how you were like in your like early years in relationships. That's what it was like. You're young, you get a girlfriend, you're like, yes, and then everything's exciting, and then you just go ham. Yeah, yeah. And then a few months in, you're like, I'm kind of over this. Yeah. Like, oh, this is not what I remembered it a few months ago.
Post-nut clarity, yeah.
And you get post-jits clarity. Like, it's the same thing, man. Like, yeah, so I always say, the motivation isn't the thing. Like, I'm not motivated. I can't say I'm not motivated, but it's just
not always motivated.
You're not always motivated. Yeah. If there's a comp coming up, I'll be motivated for that. Yeah. But the discipline is always there, where I'll train on a good week. Like, if I can get in, every day except Friday, Sunday, I'll do it. But if I need to take a day off, I'll do it still. But I'll still need to make sure I get at least 4 or 5 sessions a week.
Well done, man. Yeah. Awesome.
Unless it's injury, of course. Yeah. But I'll still be at the gym. I work there, so I'm always going to be a part of the class somehow. But yeah, I think motivation is it's good while it's there. But when it's not there, you need discipline or something else to rely on.
Well, you raised the point there, like the competition. And in my head now, I'm like, all right, maybe if I put in my mind that I want to start a competition, it's a goal. Yep. And you now, or just that moment or having that thought of, hey, I want to have go into a comp, I'm already now going into the mindset of there's someone else training harder than me right now. And when it comes down to stepping on that mat, did I train hard enough? So yeah, that's kind of a motivation, but having an end goal, I think, will definitely help.
Because a black belt cannot be your goal at the start.
Yeah, okay. Yes.
Like when you start, and I'll see, because we get inquiries come through, and a guy's like, I want to get a black belt. I go, you got to be patient, man. Yeah. That's going to take over 10 years. Or maybe less, or whatever it is, but maybe 10 years or so.
Expect 10 years.
Yeah, don't have that as a short-term goal. So competing's great. Competing, maybe a weight loss goal if you have something like that, but everybody's different. Competition is something that everybody can relate to. Yeah. maybe right at the start, just getting into the gym for a few months consistently is good. But then, I recommend competition is always going to be good just to keep you motivated.
Yeah, level up.
Yeah, 100%. And that's probably the best way to get better at jiu-jitsu quick. Because if on the mat, you've been training now for a bit, you get used to the people that you roll with.
I'm not there yet, but yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah, but like I'll be there and it's always the same people.
Yeah.
Always training. I know their game, they know my game, and we're not there to rip each other's heads off. So, we train, we get better, we upskill. At competition, that's when they're going to try to rip your head off. They're going to try to rip your arms off. They're going to try to rip your limb from limb.
Literally, yeah.
So that's when you really get to see how your jiu-jitsu is. You see your holes in your game. You see what you need to work on. So that's why, you got to compete not only just, again, for motivation, but to improve. Because, you get guys at the gym that are killers on the mat. Go watch them compete, and then all of a sudden, because they don't do it enough, they're just like, they freeze. Yeah. They're two different animals. So you want to compete a lot so that you can merge the training room version of you to the competition version of you. The only way to do that is to do both a lot. If you compete once a year, I guarantee you will not be competing the same way you're all at the gym.
Yeah, it's the comp reps, and because that comes in with the mindset as well, the mentality of
nerves.
You get scared. Exactly. Yeah.
Man, I still remember my first ever competition. The nerves, the sweat. I think I got like I won one match, lost one. I got a medal, and I was just like, I still remember that moment. It was awesome. But the nerves before that, you'll still get that years later. But you just learn how to manage it better too.
Yeah, and kind of sit in that space. Well, I think John Jones was saying something about in that when you're in that nervous state, that's when greatness happens. And I could actually see, because that's when you're kind of centering with yourself and, all right, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
Or what are we going to do now, basically, and how are we going to tackle this?
But what a trip out. It's like, I can't remember who said it once. I heard it somewhere, but so many people go through life with never having to face that type of adversity. They're, just day-to-day people doing their life, work, whatever. Competition is pretty scary, man. And it's going to, I think, like self-improvement, competing is going to help you not just in jiu-jitsu, but again, every other aspect in life. Because, man, work things, I don't know, like, my boss, I get to beat him up every day. Not beat him up, we beat each other up. But in the real world, outside of the jiu-jitsu realm, I can just imagine like work meetings, trying to ask for a pay rise, whatever else is sort of scary. That's like here on the adversity, very small.
Yeah.
On the like challenging thing compared to competing when someone's trying to hurt you. So if you compete and you can do that fine, you'll have the confidence to ask for that pay rise. You'll have the confidence to, ask for that holiday or whatever it is.
That was your point of it translating into other things. Yeah.
Yeah. So training, competing, all that sort of stuff, it's good for you.
Well, I think that's bang on, because without diving too deep, I think we all know intrinsically some form of a traumatic experience can create like a better version of yourself. So to level up without having to go through shit, you kind of just create the positive challenge. And it's almost like this positive trauma, if we can call it that.
It's a cheat code.
It's a cheat code, you can kind of like control and navigate it. And that way you just, you level up life. You start to realize, wait, even if I think I can't, I can. You know? And then like that battle in your head becomes less of a link to reality, because you start to prove to yourself, wait, no, it doesn't matter what you say to me, anxiety. The data I have shows me that I can fucking do this. You know, like you just start to prove it constantly to yourself. And
you do get that anxiety when you compete.
Yeah.
But you're right. Yeah, you just got to get the reps in.
Yeah, reps.
That's all it is. Yeah, reps with anxiety helps beat anxiety.
Who would have thunk it?
Yeah.
It's a bang on. That's good. So tell me about, you've mentioned you had got bullied in the past. What was that experience like? And I guess, did it affect you and it carry on into adulthood? What was that experience?
Yeah, so primary school for me was quite tough. So I was a little fat kid, typical fat little Greek kid going to school. And I used to get bullied a fair bit. Maybe I was an easy target. I'm not too sure why I was a target. Just for whatever reason, a lot of kids used to just pick on me.
Yeah.
Whether it was fat, I remember my tennis coach, I used to play tennis, and he bullied me once for being fat too. Like, I don't know, people picked on me a lot for being fat.
That's sad. And like, we can say, oh, it's just that. But I just remember so many things that as a kid, when you are a kid, like right now we can be like, oh, they just called you fat. But everyone just thinks back for a bit. The things that we call little now at the time is fucking full on. It affects your view of yourself and just it can crush you, man.
Big time. And it did used to crush me. I used to go to, there was one, like, again, a memory that's sort of ingrained is me getting dropped off at school and just bawling my eyes out.
Oh,
and mum's going,
shit, man.
what the hell's going on? Because I never used to tell parents. Like, you don't want to be a tattle, dibber, dobber or whatever. And I started crying and she goes, what? And then she started stressing out. And then she goes, no, let's, she speaks not very good English. So she's trying to drag me to the principal's office and try in broken English, try to say, my son, could I bully, fix it.
Fix.
Hell yeah, fix it. I don't want him. And then, then the teachers will talk to me. We had a meeting and, I let it all out. The details, I don't remember exactly. I just remember those, those tears before going in. Yeah. And then there was another time as well where I got in early and for some reason I just started getting pushed around by these two other kids. And my brother, who's a lot older than me, so he used to drop me off. And he saw me from the other side and he runs over, shoves the kid and starts yelling at him. But he's like, 20 years older than me. So he's this adult's yelling at this primary school kid. And I'm sitting there like going, yeah. But then that sort of screwed me over because then, I dobbed on him. Yeah. That's how the bullies saw it. When my brother left, they're like, oh, no, he bullied you. I mean, sorry, you dobbed on us, right, you piece of shit. Yeah. So that just went on for years. And even going into high school, I wasn't a part of the cool group ever. Felicia was my partner. She was a part of the cool group.
Oh, true, you were together, yeah.
Another random story just going on, that was, I used to have a couple of friends that were in the cool group, and they used to hang out with her and her group, and I used to try to tag along. And even she was once...
Hey, guys.
Yeah, just like that. And even once she even goes to my mate, she goes, why is he here? To me. And I'm like... Hey guys. And then, she's just like, can you tell him to F off? Like, why is he here?
Well, probably because you were drooling on her.
Yeah, I'm just she's just like, it's creepy. But then, man, that was so, I hated it. Yeah. But I'm so grateful that it happened. So, a lot of people are anti-bullying. Of course, I'm not going to watch a kid get bullied and go, yeah, go for it. I do believe you can take it as it, how do I best put it into words, is you need to learn from every experience in life. You can either go two ways. Either just keep being the victim or turn around and say, fuck it, I'm not going to let that beat me. Yeah. Because my parents used to always say, and again, I'm not sure how accurate, how good his advice is, if anyone hits you, you hit them back harder.
No, I got that. Yeah. I got, if you don't, I'm hitting you.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
but then that translates again into getting bullied. Yeah. So I got bullied. I couldn't, I wouldn't hit everybody that bullied me, but I used that to hit back at life. So I'm like, life hit me, I'm going to fucking hit it back harder. Yeah. And then I looked at it and I used that as motivation to hit the gym. Yeah. So I maybe started going to the gym at 15, 16 years old. Started to lose weight, started to get in some muscle, started to feel really good about myself. And then all of a sudden, Felicia was like, hey, who are you? And we started hanging out and then we started dating as kids. So, man, I went from the fat loser kid, got bullied, said, fuck this, fixed it. And then, not became a cool kid, but, was more in the confident side of life.
There was a glow up.
Yeah, a glow up. Yeah.
Straight out. And it clearly, when you believe it, it's just going to translate out. You know what I mean? That confidence, it's just clearly it magnetized. Sorry, her name's Felicia.
Yes.
Yeah, that she felt whatever the fuck you were feeling. Yeah. And that kind of...
Yeah, maybe it wasn't just the looks, but everything else, like the aura, the confidence, exactly, the way you can speak and all that sort of stuff. So I'm grateful it happened. It sucked. But yeah, if that never happened, I don't know if I'd have this much motivation to do better. Yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird buzz. Because that does kind of go back to what we're saying where I don't know, trauma is such a strong word, but a negative experience. Do we need them? It's weird because you wouldn't wish that on anyone, but you kind of would wish it on someone. If
that's life.
You know what I mean?
I think life is just a bunch of traumatic experiences put together, and the outcome is who you are.
Yeah, well.
If you have a very streamlined, not that much happens in your life, not that much is going to happen in your life. I just feel like those people aren't that motivated to do much. Yeah. But you see some of the most successful people, they came from really bad, not bad pasts, but real challenging pasts. Yeah. I always look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. You see where he came from. The Arnie documentary is on Netflix now, and he had a really hard upbringing that he had to leave his country. And then he used that to become one of the biggest superstars in the world. And then you've got The Rock. Yeah. There's that story where he was, looks in his pocket, he only has $7. And then from there, he's just like, you know what, I'm going to change my life. And now he's, again, one of the biggest superstars in the world. He's The Rock. So I think, again, you never wish it upon anyone. So it's a weird kind of thing to talk about because you can't say like, yes, fucking live a traumatic life. Yeah, bully him. You're like, you don't want that to happen, but sometimes those experiences, it's up to you to make good out of those experiences.
Definitely. Yeah. Did you feel though that you kind of touched on it, but did you ever become the bully? Like you mentioned that you'd hit back. But did you subconsciously become a bully? Because that's a natural progression as well.
Yeah, I agree. Like there were definitely times in high school where peer pressure, I think, is what, because I was finally with the cool kids, finally hanging out with people. And, if I saw them doing something so I could maybe fit in as a kid, maybe I jumped in sometimes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
maybe
I was like, not the beating him up, I'm going to jump and beat him up. But maybe they were excluding somebody from a group and I was like, yeah, fuck him too.
No, I'll
join in on that.
100%. 100%. As long as you aren't pointing at me, it doesn't matter. As long as we're all pointing somewhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the repercussion of who is at the end of the point.
And that goes into adulthood too.
100%.
I see it all the time, even like in the jiu-jitsu community or like in friendship groups and all that. You see like, there's always that one person that, just cops it more than anybody else. But then you try to point to the other guy and then it's just like, oh shit, you've ruined the system.
Yeah.
So, everyone's got that person in the group. But coming back to...
That's so sad because I've definitely been that as well in high school. So if you're listening to this, whoever, I've definitely been the one where it's like, let's put the attention there. You know what I mean? So
But
it sucks. But
it's hard to say but it goes down to like bullies are weak.
Yes, exactly. That was exactly right.
The reason why is because what we're talking about now is a sign of weakness.
Yes,
we don't want us to be attacked. We're just like, let's just deflect on it to somebody else.
Yes.
It's weak.
Yeah,
and I can admit that too. And it's bullies are weak. They target weak people. You try to be strong, but sometimes you'll crumble and fall into that bully category.
Yeah.
Which again, like it's just life.
Yeah.
Like I just see that as part of life. As long as you don't push it too far and you're a real dick. Kids are kids, people are people.
Exactly. Well, it's the acknowledgement of the fact that it is weakness is a sign of the growth past it, Yeah. If you're someone saying, no, it's not, you should really look into
as long as
into why you're defending that position.
I think self-awareness is a big one.
Yeah,
if you can look back now at our age and go, look, what I did back then was stupid. What I did back then maybe, hurt some people's feelings. As long as you're aware of it. Yeah, it's the ones that aren't aware of it. I think that's like isn't that a narcissist?
Yeah. I mean, we use narcissist real lightly these days, but yes, I'd say. Well, just someone who's immature as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that kind of falls down. When I think narcissist, I also just think immature. Someone who hasn't actually, like, when a kid will say something stupid in a bad time, like, we can laugh it off, but sometimes it's a serious situation. It's because the kid just isn't aware of the empathy they need to have in that situation.
That's the one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Or lack thereof,
Yeah. No, I think empathy, that's the one. Being self-aware and just being empathetic. Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, man. You've mentioned earlier that, so in terms of the nerves in going into comps, what's your like practical application of covering it? We mentioned comp reps, but do you have any mental processes that you can share with us?
Yeah, so for me, what I realized was everybody gets nervous. So it's not like at the start I'm there and I'm shitting my pants and I'm nervous and I'm like, I got to take that nervous piss right before I go out. And I'm like, man, am I the only one that goes through this? Because I'm looking around, everybody else looks fine. You got the guys like, warming up in their zone, headphones in. For some reason, shadow boxing. But I look at them and I go, I envy those guys because I thought they weren't feeling nerves. But then over the years, and you learn everybody gets nervous. Everybody feels it. For me, I just accept it.
Yeah.
I go, it's nerves. It's just a feeling. It's nothing more than that. It's not crippling me. It's not something I can see. It's not something I can grab.
Yeah.
It's just a feeling. Like you feel sad, you feel happy. It doesn't matter. Jiu-jitsu is still jiu-jitsu no matter what you're feeling.
Yeah.
If you let it take over, then you've made it something.
If you let it take over.
If you let it cripple your skills, if you let it affect you.
What does the word let mean here? Because it's a feeling. So how do you let? Is it by, how do you let it?
That's actually a good question. So letting it, it's hard one to explain.
It's, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's because it's full on. It's and I'll jump in as well because does it mean entertaining the thought a bit more than you should? Because
I think by let, I think if you open the doors and allow nerves to take over. So, you feel nerves, you let them wash by.
Yeah,
if you feel nerves and you go, I'm nervous, I'm going to grab onto
So
these.
fixate almost.
Yeah. Maybe
moment,
that wasn't the right word. Maybe if you fixate on the nerves, then that's, you've made it something. If you feel the nerves and you're like, yeah, cool, just go. Don't worry about it. Let it wash over you. That's fine. Easier said than done. Because I've had comps where, the nerves have just, you're almost shaking. You're almost like crippled with not fear, but maybe fear or whatever you're feeling. And then after a while, you just realize
you realize you are not your thoughts.
Yeah, you're not your thoughts. That's right. But it is. It's a very confusing, kind of hard thing to talk about because it's something you don't talk about. You feel it. So
it's experience, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like experience is definitely one thing. Also, not really. One thing that really helped me was realizing win or lose, you're not going to lose friends. Win or lose, you're not going to have your coach say you're useless or whatever it is. But they're the feelings you have. The reason you get nervous is because you're afraid you're going to let someone down. Whether it's your friends that are coming to watch, whether it's your coach, whether it's your teammates.
Or the image you gave yourself.
Yeah, the identity that you've created for yourself, which I guarantee is only in your own head. I've never once looked at, on Instagram, you see people's results and, win or lose, I'm not going to go, ha, he lost, or, oh, he lost, he sucks. Yeah. It doesn't matter. The fact that you went out and competed already says so much.
That's true.
And having that mindset now, win or lose, doesn't matter. And then I find I compete better. When I was more real fixated on, like, if I don't win, man, I'm going to have, like, it's going to be a struggle, whatever. Like, I'm in my own head. I wouldn't perform as well. And I had one, actually talking about that, when I was in Queensland last year for Tough Rolls, one of my good friends, Jordan, who used to run Hyperfly Australia, used to sponsor me back then. He took me over there. And in the car ride there, because it was one of the biggest shows, Triantopoulos was on it, man. Like, it was scary. So as in the car, he's driving me there, and I was quiet. He's like, you all right? And I'm like, hey, Jordan, are you gonna be upset if I lose? And he just turned around and goes, I don't give a fuck if you win or lose, man.
Get over yourself.
He goes, I do not care, win or lose, even if you don't compete, whatever. I'm still going to love you. And just hearing the way he said it so quick, it was just like, what are you talking about, man? Like, it's not a thing. Yeah. That helped me big time.
That's huge.
Went out there, I won the thing.
Oh,
it was great.
Well, I'm sure that mattered, man.
The nerves the nerves were still there, but it just, you embrace it almost. But nerves is something that, you need to compete. You can't, the first comp, you'll always be nervous.
Yeah, and like the idea of knowing that this, like he's saying it's okay. If you're too nervous, there's like a decision paralysis. So you're like I love the quote, more is lost to indecision than wrong decision. So if you're in this state of nerves and you're like, I don't know what to do, if you're more flowy and playful and having fun like you've been training, and to be honest, I'm regurgitating what you said on a podcast. So I'm literally just throwing it back at you because hashtag not my thoughts. But if you're flowing and playing, then you're in the mode that you've been training in, which is the best version of you that you should bring to the competition.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I know I just said it to the source, but like, it's so true. And when hearing you say that, it rung so true. So and you're doing, because it sounds like what you're saying as well was like almost meditative as well. You've got like a breathing app. What's that about?
Oh man,
you just put in high scores. I'm like, all right.
One thing I recommend, and I started doing this during COVID, the Wim Hof breathing method. Yeah, he's the Iceman. He does. He climbed Mount Everest in his jocks. Like, he's one of those sort of. He has ice baths. I don't do those. I don't have I do a cold shower. That's as much as I'll ever do.
Which is full on, but
it's easy after a while. At the start,
during the day, it's easy, but if I'm going to bed, I want to fucking boil my skin off.
I agree. I'm the same. No, my cold shower's in the morning. I don't do it at night time. I'm tired. I want to relax, have a nice warm shower. But the breathing, that has helped me out so much because I'm not against meditating. Like, all that hum sort of stuff. Yeah. If that's your thing, cool. But for me, I just don't have it in me to do that style of meditation. Yeah. When a friend put me onto the breathing, man, that was changing. The first few times you do it, you literally get high on your own supply.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've done that before, but you do get head spin, not the head spins, but you get that like your hands start to seize and you're like, there's no oxygen. You feel like there's a rush.
Well, there's like this, in my experience, I think it's relatable. Like you start to lose the structure of your hand. Yeah. And then the whole hand becomes a tingle.
Yeah, and you like curl your fingers.
Yeah, it's just like the boundary of the fingers start to kind of loosen.
Yeah. And then your face does the same thing.
Yeah, it's like a numbness,
Man, and it's great. And, maybe that's how they hook you in. I don't know how it works. But now that doesn't happen. You just breathe for the sake of doing the motions. But that helped me in being calm. That helps me in if I'm ever starting to feel like maybe I'm getting a bit worked up, I'll find a quiet corner in a room, do some breathing, everything comes back down to normal. It happened to me at a comp in Queensland. I was shit start, lost all my matches, and I was about to just pull it. I had 4 more to go. I went, screw it, found a corner, breathed, did really well afterwards. Mindset change. Just from taking that moment to just be there instead of worrying about the future or the past.
Literally.
So I'll do that every day. Wake up, 3, 4 rounds, whatever it is. If I get a good score, I'll share it. But also, you got to be careful because if I get too competitive, you take away from the mindfulness of it.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there holding my breath, going, about to pass out, and you're not relaxed anymore. So it's kind of a balance. If you're going to do Wim Hof, do it for the right reasons. But hey, if you want to challenge yourself, have some fun
and like do it. Yeah, do it if it gets you in the routine of it. Sometimes the ends justifies the means.
Yeah, man, it's free. Skip all of that. It's free.
Yeah.
So why not? Give it a go. There's YouTube videos that you can watch, like a 15-minute video that guides you through the whole thing. And again, who doesn't have 15 minutes?
100%. Like they say, meditation is essentially preparation for the worst day of your life. Because
jiu-jitsu.
Straight out. But it's the same rule applies where when you need it most, there's going to be a time where you need to recenter, and that starts with the breath. Because if you're occupied on the in and the out, and one thing I remember learning as well was you go out, in, out, and then there's a moment where you slow the breath down, but then at the end of the out and just before the in, there's this space of silence. Yeah, and you just kind of sit in that a bit, and then that's when I've had that weird kind of buzzy experience. Yeah. But it's probably just passing out. You're right.
It's no oxygen to the brain. But that's right. It's when those, when you're holding your breath, because 30 breaths in, 30 breaths out, and then you hold your breath on the exhale for as long as possible.
Yeah.
That's when you start to just kind of wonder in your own little mind. Maybe that's what meditating is. You lose yourself in your own mind.
Yeah.
Then before you know it, you're like, man, I haven't breathed for a while. Shit. And then you go again.
I'm dying.
Then you do 3, 4. Sometimes I'll go 10 rounds depending on what's going on in my day or life or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I definitely recommend breathing. And it helps you on the... Oh, yes.
You heard it here first.
Breathe. That's great.
No, I'm with you. Breathing deep. Getting good at breathing, honestly.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
And it'll help you on the mats too when you're rolling. Because one thing I notice people, especially at the start, they don't breathe. Because you're thinking so much about the technique, you don't breathe. And in a 5-minute round, you're so gassed.
Yeah.
And then you ask, did you breathe? He goes, I hope so. And they didn't. They're just... raw knuckling everything.
Yeah.
And they don't breathe, so they get gassed. So if you learn how to breathe and control your breathing through a 5-minute round, you'll be able to roll for hours.
That's huge, man.
Yeah.
And so simple. We forget literally the simple ones, but they're the fucking Occam's razor. It's the most simple thing is the most usually true or effective, something like that. Google it. I don't know.
But going with the breathing, I just remembered it now. When I compete, I just realized I do this, and I've told a few people about it. I listen to their breathing. The second I grip them, I pay attention to their breath.
Nice.
If they're, breathing in and out, I've won.
That's threatening as. I like
that. They're nervous.
Yeah.
They're going to be out of breath quicker. They're not, I can tell they're freaking out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm on purpose that slows my breath even further down.
Bro,
and then
that's
I'm
killer.
Chilling out there, having fun. I make it almost look like, I'm playing. I'm still focused, but I want them to think fuck, is he not nervous? Is he not freaking out? Because I remember what I was like at the start looking at everybody else.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if he's nervous, I'm going to make it look like I'm super not nervous.
It's bang on, man. It's perfect. Link was saying that. You know Link, I'm assuming. Yeah. He was saying it's literally the battle with yourself.
Yeah.
But if you've won that battle with yourself, you've by default put them in a position to say, wait, have I lost? And in that battle with themselves, they're fucking see you later.
Yeah, you've won the battle before even stepping on the mat.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
No, I love it. It's good.
Yeah.
So in terms of the comp though, what would you give advice to someone who has lost and they're just really beating themselves up about it? What can they actually do? Because we can say things, but is there something to apply in terms of... I'm going to start that again.
Yes.
And maybe take that out. But yes, what do you say to someone who's lost the competition and they're just really beating themselves up about it.
Would you say, if it's as soon as they get off the mats,
Yeah.
if it happens right away, and I've dealt with this all the time, especially with the kids, they'll come off bawling their eyes out, all that. I feel then and there, if they're too emotional, you can't say anything.
True.
Let them feel what they're feeling. Let them do that. Because if you're throwing, you should have done this, you should have done that, and they're sitting there crying, they're just sitting there going like, man, this is way too overwhelming. Same with adults. I've seen adults cry after losing. You don't run up to them and start going, you should have done this, you should have done that. It's okay. Back on the, back to the lab and we'll get better tomorrow. Let them feel it. Give them their space. If they want to talk, they'll come to you. Be there for them. And that's fine. When they do calm down, usually they should be okay by then. But if they're not and they're really sort of...
Or it's just more like affecting their view of themselves in the competition setting. Like, what if they're holistically second-guessing their ability?
Yeah, if it's then and there when somebody's lost, like the best advice I can give is, again, remember, nobody, yes, they care if you win. They're happy for you. But if you lose, that's fine.
Yeah, it's true.
It's okay. If you lose, that's okay. As long as you know that. You're not out there fighting to the death. You tap, you live to train another day.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Later at the gym, if it's something where it's on somebody's mind where they're afraid of losing or they've said, oh, look, I lost that comp. Oh, I want to quit jiu-jitsu or whatever it is. Okay, man, just remember when you first started, when you first signed up, why did you sign up? You didn't sign up to win IBJJF Pan Packs 2024. You signed up because you wanted to get better at self-defense. You signed up because you wanted to lose some weight.
Yeah.
For a woman or whatever their reasons are. Yeah. Go back to that person. Remember why you started and then just sort of reverse engineer it from there. If you have to go back a few steps, that's fine. Just like in jiu-jitsu, if you're trying to pass someone's guard and you start losing the pass, backtrack a little bit.
Nice.
Don't overcommit and then lose it and then, fall off the top of the guy and get swept. If you're doing it and you're like, I don't know, this doesn't feel right, come back, reset, do it again. Same with jiu-jitsu. If you feel like you're starting to lose it a little bit, take a few steps back.
Yeah.
Relax, take a day off. Recenter or reset yourself, recenter yourself, and then do it again. Losing sucks, but it depends how you deal with it. If you quit, I don't know, man.
Maybe it's good if you do know that that's what you need to, like, instead of trying as well when you shouldn't. Yeah. If you know what I'm trying to say as well.
If you need to quit, that's fine. As long as you're going to come back. But if you let it beat you, then I don't know. There's more deeper seated issues I think that person needs to deal with. Yeah, because again, it's competition, man. Like, end of the day, we're not like, especially here in Australia, these sort of level of comps, you don't get paid to compete. You pay to compete.
Literally, yeah.
So it's not like it's a career for most. For the ones that it is, that's a whole different kettle of fish. If competing is your livelihood, if competing is how you're going to, make money, how you're going to feed your family, that's a whole different thing. But what most people do is just do it for fun.
Yeah, yeah.
They compete, they get a medal, it's nice, you post it on Instagram, that's it.
Bro, that was like beautiful, honestly. Well said. That idea, no, seriously, that idea of just like bring yourself back, reconnect with yourself. Why did you join jiu-jitsu? It wasn't to be number one in the world.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of that reminder of, remind yourself that you already are where a past version of yourself wanted you to be. Like, that kind of recenters you in the gratitude as well. It's like, hey, we're in a good spot. Like, this is good, and to actually remind yourself of that. And sorry, I was just going to say, though, the inverse of what you said about when they come off the mat and you're like, you should have done this, you should have done that, not doing that. Also try not to say like, yeah, it was great, you did well. Like, if they know they've done shit as well, they don't want to be lied to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So in both ends, let them experience what they're experiencing, because you don't want to come in too hard, just shoving whatever down when it's just, they just need to fucking feel the thing in its entirety as well.
Yeah, I agree. And going back to what you were saying about, like, you are where you were. So what was it you said? You are where you wanted to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I look back at when I first started and the way I looked at blue belts, and I was like, man, these guys are like, like I said, like gods. Then I got my blue belt. Now I know white belts look at me like that. Yeah. So it's like, ooh, that's pretty cool. Now brown belt, and I go, man, I remember what I used to look at brown belts as, and I'm like, man, that's never going to be there. And now I'm there, and I go, man, I need to sometimes put my beginner helmet on and see what it's like being a white belt again. Yeah. Because that's what I feel like a lot of people lose, especially when they get really high in jiu-jitsu, brown, black, or whatever it is. They forget what it's like to be a beginner.
Yeah.
They forget what day one is like. So you'll see people out there going like, oh, you should do this. Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you moving in this direction? The guy on the bottom's going, I don't know what you're talking about, man. And then the coach is like, what the fuck, man? Like, and then he moves on. And it's like, you got to remember, day one for a lot of people, touching somebody else is nerve-wracking.
That's true, yeah.
Having someone really close to you and, your personal space is gone is nerve-wracking. I think we take that for granted. For us now, it's just life.
Yeah.
For those guys, it's, man, they'll go home and they're telling their wives about it. They're like, man, I did this, I did that. I learned to rear naked choke.
Flying fucking Kimura fucking.
Yeah. And then they're telling their mates. And it's like, man, I like to take a moment to sort of appreciate that as well. And just be like, man, like you said, where we are, where we want it to be. I think that's how you said it. I'm losing it now. Yeah.
We know what we're saying.
Yeah.
That's it. How about your personal development in and out of jiu-jitsu? Are there areas that you're currently working on?
As in,
I feel like I'm asking the question, but I feel like we've already touched on it as well. But do you? I don't know. Just are there areas of personal growth that you're trying to develop on? Like example with the podcast as well. We've already said you're becoming a better listener. You're becoming more patient. Is there anything you're actively working on just as Chris, or it's just life kind of happening as well?
No, I guess right now I'm at that stage where next for me is coaching and maybe having a gym one day and all that sort of stuff. So my mindset is how to help others.
Yeah.
How can I be a coach to not only the guy that wants to compete, but that person that's never stepped foot on the mat? Yeah. How can I help them out? How can I help out the kid that wants to, not get bullied at school compared to the kid that competes every weekend? So I want to learn how to I'm trying to work on being more diverse and have a different, I don't even try to put it into words. Yeah, I guess diversity.
Yeah.
So being able to help everybody out in the best way I can. Of course, there's going to be people I can't help out. And that comes back to why I'm doing the podcasting, why I'm doing all this is to be a better listener, be a better speaker, and just be able to portray what's in here better.
Would you consider yourself a selfish person? Because it sounds like you're in a state of giving, which is selfless. But what's your relationship with selfishness and selflessness?
No, I do always believe you have to look after yourself before you can look after somebody else.
Of course.
So there's always going to be that. I'll still always train. I'll train regardless. The missus never complains, luckily, but training is a non-negotiable. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I'll train. I'll do whatever I can to make myself better at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And I'll cull people if they don't agree with it, that's fine, whatever. But then I'll give back in the sense of coaching people, helping them out, training, looking after them at the gym. But selfish, I think everybody's a little bit selfish.
Yeah. I am selfish, to be honest, but I think my selfishness comes with complete transparency of hey, this is
what I want.
This is what I want. This is what I need. This is what I got that I can give you. This is what I can't give you. Let's just kind of, I don't want to make it sound transactional, but I have a very, this is my path mentality.
No, but what you just said hit it on the head. Transparent.
Transparent.
As long as everybody knows, as long as all your cards are laid out on the table, nothing's hidden behind a curtain.
Yeah.
Being selfish is fine.
Yeah,
it's when you're being manipulative. It's when you're trying to screw somebody over to get what you want. Then that's negative selfishness. But man, I reckon everybody can be selfish in a positive way.
Yeah,
because if I'm selfish and it's going to make you better at jiu-jitsu because I'm so selfish about my jiu-jitsu,
true.
How's that a bad thing?
Fuck yeah, byproduct. Happy.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But if I'm
Everyone good.
Yeah, everybody good. But if I'm being selfish and I'm starting to use my powers for evil or whatever it is, then that's a different story. But yeah, I agree. I believe, if I can get better at something and help somebody else at it, why not put everything into getting better at it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of like destigmatizing selfish or doing it well, at least.
Even the word ego, I think, has a big stigma to it where people think it's a bad thing. In Greek, it just means me. Ego.
Okay, interesting.
So in Greek, ego just means me.
Yes.
So all it is me. But they're saying, you have such a big ego. It's well, not really. Maybe that guy's just a douchebag.
Yes,
but
yeah.
You're allowed to have an ego. It's just a word that you're describing yourself as. So I look at ego as well. It's it's not that bad.
100%. If you have a name, you have an ego. It's literally linked. And as you said, me, that's right.
So I'm well, what's the problem with the word ego? What's the problem with the word selfish? They're not bad things, but they can be misunderstood.
Yeah.
And then you get selfish guy, or the guy that's a bit of a douche and manipulating. He's egotistical, he's selfish, he's so up himself. And you're like, All right, but he's not those things. He's just a douchebag.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
a dickhead.
exactly. We're all those things a bit. Like,
Yeah, everybody's got a little bit of ego-ness. Everybody's got some selfishness about themselves. Otherwise, like, why would you buy clothes for yourself?
literally, yeah, exactly. Why would you move in the world?
Yeah.
Like, ego makes you navigate in the world because Chris has a story, Bill has a story. That's the ego of our story. You need to fulfill that role and the character we're playing, which is the ego.
Otherwise, we'd be nothing.
Yeah, literally. Like,
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, like we're going back to saying with stigma and all that on words, it's like, man, just people have to snap out of that.
yeah. How'd you get into commentating? You're just everywhere, man. Serious,
so-
it's awesome.
So commentating was a pretty random thing that happened. So I used to do videography, photography, all that sort of stuff. And I used to film a lot of instructionals for Lachlan Giles. So I did his half guard stuff, his, I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but we got to know each other. I used to train at Absolute a little bit as well. Then years passed, we haven't really spoken.
Yeah.
And Sai, the one that runs BOA, he gives me a message one day and he goes, hey man, Lachlan Giles reckons you'd be good for commentating. And I'm like, sorry, what? Me? This guy?
Me?
Yeah, I was never putting up anything on social media yet, so I wasn't doing anything like that. I was just, just whatever. And I messaged Lachlan, like, hey man, like, thanks, but why?
Yeah, good point.
And he goes, man, I just reckon you'd be good at it. And I'm like, oh, look, I'm not going to deny him. He's a great guy. Like, I really trust him with all the jiu-jitsu stuff, really smart dude. So I'm like, all right, give it a go. Did my first event a few years ago at BOA, Super 8.
Yep.
Man, it was an experience. I'd never done it before. They're like, here's a headset, here's a mic, there's some jiu-jitsu, call it.
Speak.
Yeah, and was I blue or purple? I can't remember what, I think I was a purple belt. And the guy I was with, Matt, awesome dude, and he helped me out a lot. He was experienced, and I was nervous, and he gave me the reins a lot because I was a jiu-jitsu analyst for the night. He's a Muay Thai guy with a bit of jiu-jitsu experience, but really good commentator.
And what belt were you at this point?
Purple.
Purple, yeah.
Yeah, and he does a lot of rebellion Muay Thai commentating, so you can commentate. And he helped me out a lot. He was real nurturing. He knew it was my first time, so he kind of guided me through the whole thing. Then I did the next BOA, and then Fusion comes about. And so I did some MMA shows as well. The MMA was a little bit different because I'm not an MMA guy, but I could call the jiu-jitsu stuff.
Yeah.
And then, that was just a quick side story with the MMA. It was Salt Fight Series. I'm there with two other commentators. I'm there, I'm doing the MMA calling, and they both go on break. And then one of them's like, on the mic, oh, Jack Jenkins is coming. And I'm like, what? No, not the UFC fighter. Like, yep. He sits next to me, and they go, intro him. And I'm like,
oh, shit.
Hey, guys, welcome by my side here. I've got Jack Jenkins, UFC, about to jump in. Rah, rah. And I'm like, Jack, what do you think of the fight? And then I'm just sitting there going like, shit. I do not want to stuff this up. Because I didn't. And he's calling the fight. He goes, when he runs in with the jab and this and that. And I'm like,
He's looking to close the distance. That's
I'm just trying to think of like quick like buttons in my head I can press at a words.
Yeah.
And then that was
Even you saying that, you just put it on. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, you got to put your commentator hat on.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I love it. Like now it's to the point where, because I do Fusion regularly now, went to Adelaide recently. There's a show coming up in August soon. I think August 6th is the next Fusion. Combat Jiu-Jitsu as well, so that's actually really cool.
Yeah, I think Justin's on that one.
Yeah, he's going to be on that one. Man, he's a fucking firework, man. He's great. But yeah, the commentating now, it's awesome.
Yeah.
At the start, it was quite scary because it's live. They're streaming it. It's live. You can't go like, all right, let's redo that.
Yeah, like the question I just did.
Yeah, like, here it's great when it's edited and it's not live. You can take your time. With the commentating, it's like, dude, if you stuff something up. Like I remember once I think I said he was squeezing something really hard and I'm like, oh, he's about to blow his load. And then the producer's like, Chris. But they're on a 5-second delay.
I was going to say, did I have a lag?
Quickly, he's like, fucking get rid of that. He goes, stop, you can't do that. And now it's become like the saying amongst that promotion. They're like, oh, Chris, blow his load. But yeah, like it's scary when you're there live.
Yeah, bro.
But man, it's so cool.
But like even podcasting, like these, whatever the fuck we're doing where our kind of role is to speak, there's a moment where like when the silence hits, no one's dragging you out of it. And when you haven't found the next thought and you're just lost, no one's fucking dragging you out of it. You need to speak. It's like in that moment, I'm like, say the next thing. And you just have to fucking say it. And then like even now I'm talking, I'm like, where am I going with this? As you're talking, you need to string it back to this structure of a conversation. there's so much in words that happens. I don't know if people notice it when it's being captured and put as content. It makes you fucking freak out.
I'm not sure if you get this, but when you start talking, you've almost got like a part of your brain that's already thinking like, all right, what am I talking about? What's he? It's almost like the producer in your mind, and the words are coming out. Then you start realizing you're up here a lot, and then you forget that you're talking, and you're still talking.
Like, what am I talking about?
And you're like, shit, did I just ramble on? Like some of these questions, I'm like, what did I just say?
Exactly.
That happens commentating too.
Yeah, 100%.
But I'm not sure if you know this. Before all this, I was a pro wrestler.
No, man.
So for I was doing it for 5 years before jiu-jitsu.
Oh, wow.
So it was it's called PCW, Professional Championship Wrestling.
So you were 18?
Yes, no, 19.
Okay.
18, 19. Yeah, I was quite young doing it. And then, did it until about 23. Yeah, and then they kind of both cross paths a little bit, jiu-jitsu and pro wrestling.
As they do, yeah.
And they sometimes go, like you're in the crowd, in the middle, live audience, they go, here's a mic. This is what we want you to say. And you're out there, man, if you forget what you're saying there, they chew you out. They boo. They know you stuffed up, so they start booing you.
Really?
Oh, man, because you're there. Like, I was a bad guy. So I'd go out there, I'm bagging out the crowd, and if I stumble my words, they're like, yeah, fuck you, man.
That's fair enough.
They give it to you. Yeah. But that's, I think, what helped me with talking, what helped me with being in front of a live audience, doing the super fights and not feeling too nervous. Because I was in the middle of the ring with like a spandex one piece, wearing nothing at all.
Yeah.
And then you all these guys looking at you, and I'm the bad guy, so they're booing you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, booing's fine. If I go out there and get booed, I'll still be me. I won't let that frazzle me. But I think, doing the pro wrestling for all those years helped the entertainment side of me now.
Nice. Yeah, that matters.
Yeah.
That matters. Your boos mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Rick Sanchez
Yes.
from Rick and Morty.
I like that. Yeah. That's great.
With the commentating, I feel like the anxiety as well is, do you need to kind of predict what's happening? Is that a part of doing it well? Like, oh yeah, now he's going to look to do that. And what if you get that wrong? Does that matter, or am I?
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. So it helps if you know who's on the card.
Okay, yeah.
Like when we do the Melbourne shows, we know most of the people on the card. So you can give a bit of a backstory on them. You know their style. You know what to expect. You know how they went recently at other comps. When I went to Adelaide, I knew nobody. So I'm using notes the whole time. So that makes it a bit harder to come across as emotionally invested. But when you're calling the action, you're still calling the action. But when Juzzy's out there, man, no, I know the kid. You know, I know the guy.
Like Juzzy likes to go for the thing. You know?
Juzzy will go for this, go for that.
Yeah.
It's hard to predict because you never know what they're going to do. But usually in a certain spot in jiu-jitsu, like if I'm mounting you, I know that, you're going to do A, B, or C. If you're setting, through jiu-jitsu experience, if you're setting up an armbar, there's telltale signs before that.
Yeah.
If you're going for a back attack or whatever it is, you can almost sort of start seeing what they're doing. And usually I'll throw to Frank. So he's the analyst. So I'll be there, I'll call the action, and then I'll be like, all right, Frank, what do you think's happening next? And then he'll give his 2 cents as well.
Yeah.
So you got to work as a team. So if I feel a little bit like, like, I don't know, I'm watching and I'll go, I'm kind of losing it. Hey, Frank, what do you think? And then, I'll always throw the action side of things to him to call it because that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Me, I'm more talking about the story behind the match.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their role, essentially.
Correct, yeah. And then if you find two that work really well together, like I believe Frank and I work great together, yeah, the crowd loves it too. They feed off the energy. You got two guys that are just passionate about it. And you're not trying to compete with each other.
Huge.
Because if we're both trying to call the action, then it's like we're talking over each other. But if I know my role, you know your role, then it's all good. We gel well together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a consumer, whether we know it or not, it's familiar. You know what I mean? It's just we don't know that that's the next thing, but it's familiar. Yep, you're talking, to go silent, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
It flows well.
And
that's
then
sick.
you learn when to calm down. Like when the action's going and there's a lot going on, we'll pull back a little bit. We don't need to talk now. The action's so high that it's doing the talking for itself.
True, yeah.
And that's another skill that you need to know when to do that. Because if you're just going, blah, 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 you've never slowed down to let anybody absorb any of it. So sometimes you just slow it down, let it happen, absorb it, then come back later. Yeah.
Like speaking of ego, it's reminding yourself it's not about me. Like there's a fight happening. It's not like me, I'm talking.
Oh, man. And you see it a lot with the inexperienced guys. They go out there and not saying that I'm that experienced, but you can almost see it when people are maybe brand new to it or they're just not commentators and they've been called in to do a show. They always spin it back to themselves. And then you're like, dude, you're not there to do that. You're talking the whole time. Your voice is there. You're there. People know you're there. You don't have to keep bringing it back to you.
Yeah.
Call the action because you're there to tell a story.
Yes, yeah.
And, you got two guys in the cage that most people at home don't know who they are. Our job is to introduce them to the people at home watching. Our job is to build them up, and it's all storytelling.
That's
People love a good story,
That's
man.
beautiful. Yeah, we 100%. Yeah.
That's how we work. Yeah.
And it's just how we process the world even. So it's just to do it well, it's translates into good content, good entertainment.
Correct.
It just works out.
Yeah.
Have you what's the most memorable fight you've commentated? If any stand out?
Yeah, look, to be honest, I reckon when my first ever show, watching Nikki win her bowl belt. So there was I think it was a 8-man div or I can't remember the exact number, but it was a tournament. So, you beat someone, you go to the next round. You beat someone, you go to the next round.
Yeah.
And she was a brown belt at the time. She jumped in there, smashed her way to the finals, and then the finals, it was against a black belt. And, it was, she's a training partner. She's a friend. So I was like, oh, this is kind of nerve-wracking. And when she won, if there's ever, I've got to find the footage, man, I exploded. I was
really?
like, Nikki wins. She's a new champion. Nikki Lloyd Griffiths wins the Boa Championship. And then the other guy sitting there, he's just sitting there laughing and smiling. He goes, I think Chris is happy.
He might just be.
And then just seeing, because it was the first time doing it. And then, that's when even he goes, man, for a first timer, you just fucking went for it.
Yeah.
Because usually the first timers are a bit nervous. They're like, oh, yeah, that person won the thing. And I'm like, fuck it, Nikki wins, run, and went nuts. And that's probably my favorite experience because it was the first one.
Amazing, yeah.
And it was such a good ending to a great show. And, a friend won a belt and won the tournament. And, I was happy that I was able to call that. And I was like, man, this is great. And one bit of feedback that I got from Nikki, which I still remember now, is her mum was watching. It's a live stream. And then she goes, oh, the commentator really, explained things well and helped me understand what the hell's going on. Because jiu-jitsu is a bit like, if you don't know the scoring system, if you don't know what jiu-jitsu is, you're like, this is weird.
There's just legs everywhere.
Yeah. So our job is to explain what those legs are doing. Like, where does that leg need to go for the person to win the match? So that's why, for commentating, that's my goal. To be able to explain it to the viewer watching who's never watched it before. Not to the experienced guy. I can't explain jiu-jitsu to him. He knows it already. I don't want to try to step on those toes.
Yeah.
But to the person watching it for the first time, I want them to leave and go, all right, I get it.
Yeah, like I was, yeah, we were, you bring us in on it.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
But so I was gonna ask you but you hit it there. If you've commentated on a friend before, do you treat those ones different? Like, do you have to consciously do anything, or it just flows?
You try not to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're like, fucking come on. Yes.
Yeah. And I've had it before. I've had friends competing in combat jiu-jitsu as well. And there was one, a friend Victoria was competing and she was in there and it was, back and forth. And I didn't want to ever try to say like, oh, it's clear that, Victoria's winning or it's clear that this person's winning. I always try to keep it as non-biased as possible. But it does happen. You see a friend out there and you watch it and you get nervous. But I try to portray it across as I'm here to do a job. Even if my friend, like let's say Nikki lost, I would have been probably just as excited for the other girl.
Yeah, true.
Maybe a little bit less, I don't know. But, but I'll still pump it up because it's the end of the night. She won a belt. I'm going to pump it up. I'm not going to go, Nikki lost, the other girl won.
Because it's good jiu-jitsu. Like, even if I'm supporting someone, and I see the opponent get a fucking mad move, I'm like, whoa! Like, I scream out of like, that was fucking sick. Like, I don't... Yeah, I still want my person to win, but it's like you can appreciate good jiu-jitsu somewhat impartially from it as well.
Yeah, and it sucks when you see friends lose, but when you see them win, it's great as well. But yeah, you don't really want to play favorites either.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be, because jiu-jitsu is a very small community. You don't want to have the reputation of like, oh man, every time Chris's friends are out, he's just going to talk about them. Because people talk amongst themselves. I hear it all the time. So you need to try to be as professional as you can.
Yeah. And from an entertainment perspective as well, even if it is one-sided, I feel like you need to create the illusion of competition, even if it's not there. That to and fro, that kind of that tension as an audience, we're like, what's going to happen?
Man, I've called some boring matches.
Yeah.
And I can't sit there and go, this match sucks. I got to sit there and try to sell it.
Exactly, yeah.
Some commentators might be like, this match sucks. But, man, my job is to sell a fight. Oh, man, I'll sit there and I'm like, I moved his hand an inch. Yeah, that is awesome. Or, like, something happens and you try to hype it up. And that's the hard one. When you're watching a boring match and you're sitting there about to pass out, but you got to keep your energy up.
It's your role, yeah.
That's what you got to do. Yeah.
Is there any particular way to prepare for these fight nights, or it's just the experience now?
No, like... for me, I like to be as prepared as I can by just knowing who's competing.
Yeah,
there's a lot of fights on the card, so I can't memorize everything. I've got my notes that we get, but I believe, like even, he sent me the questions before today. I looked at them, but I didn't really read them.
Yeah, you don't want to overanalyze them.
Yeah, and that's the same thing when I'm going to be out there live. You can't predict what's going to happen. You just don't know. Yeah. So I reckon the best thing you can do is just go there, do it.
Yeah.
But some people are different. Some people need to prepare. I feel like I'm better if I'm just out there just live.
Yeah, I try to I literally try start my intro, assume what you're going to say, assume what I try like that, and then past the intro, I'm like, all right, this is it.
And we're done. Yeah.
This isn't happening, basically. Yeah. Give me, or give us with the audience, give us some insider scoop or something, some drama or politics you can give us about the commentating. Is there any behind the scenes stuff that happens, or I'm just trying to fish for something that's...
I need people to click on.
Yeah. You heard it here, exclusive, not your thoughts.
No, like with the commentating, there's no politic game. It's not like a dog-eat-dog world sort of thing where like if someone says the wrong thing, they're out or anything. It's just people getting along. Like Frank got me the job at Fusion. He's the one to put my name forward. So, I owe him a debt of gratitude for getting me on board. Insider scoops, anything interesting, the matches are all fixed. No, I'm joking. No. So, now there's not really like...
Clip it.
Yeah, clickbait done. The matches are all fixed. It's on. No, it's all pretty straightforward. Like, you just get to the event. They do the rules meetings. You get to talk to everybody. They've got, it's really not really anything.
Good. It's honestly good. It's good.
Yeah.
I shot in the dark. I was trying to fish for it.
But
I'm happy to hear actually that it sounds like a positive environment, which is good.
It really is. And I think what helps is I've always worked with good promoters. There are some promotions out there just from hearsay that, they don't run it well. They just try to make a quick buck and they don't really care about the well-being of the athletes. Bowl was always really good because it's run by site, very professional. It does rebellion, so it's done in a really professional way. Same with Fusion. So it's run by Mateo. Yeah. Man, he really does put the athletes first. So he'll go out there, he runs it, and he tries to make it look as professional as he can, and he knows that, these guys are going to use it as highlights. So it's like, cool, cut your reels, cut your TikToks, and make your videos, do what you need to do with the content. His only ask is you make your match exciting.
Yes.
He goes, win or lose, doesn't matter. If you win a match and you just won and it was boring, you're not coming back.
Good, yeah.
If you're out there and you're trying, man, you'll be on the next show even if you win or lose.
Yeah.
So you go out there, you make it a fun match, and it makes everybody feel good about it.
Put on a fucking show. Yeah, that's why we're there as the audience.
Man, because jiu-jitsu can be a boring sport.
Yeah.
But if you're out there and you got Juzzy's one of the prime examples of an entertaining grappler.
Fucking shout out to Juzzy.
Oh, dude, no, man. I know when he's out there, I'm like, oh, cool, I'm going to get myself.
You feel it in the crowd as well.
Yeah, and man, one thing I got to say is dominance brings a crowd.
Yeah.
I don't know how many. You hear Link come out, Juzzy. There were some other guys as well. I can't remember. Josh came out as well.
Yeah. Ivan's a powerhouse there.
Yeah. You got Ivan as well. I versed Ivan once at Fusion as well.
Oh, tell me.
That was the crowd. I was like, I got some friends here. I heard a bit of a yay. Ivan's music hits. Crowd goes wild. And I'm just like, and man, again, I try to be in character. I put a character on those things. I come out, I slap my face, and go, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, you go, Chris. And I'm like, all right, that was a bit.
It's just your mum in the background.
Yeah, just going, woo. And then he comes out, it's just a fucking crowd goes nuts. And I'm like, oh, man, that's when I learned the power of dominance.
Yeah, well.
And man, I just got to give them a quick shout out. It's great when they come out, man. But what were we just talking about?
Well, just the entertainment value and putting on a show and
oh yeah, sorry, and talk about the promotions as well.
The man behind it, our Dana White, Mateo,
yeah. So man, he runs it. He runs a great promotion. Looks after the athletes. Like anything you need, he'll look after you with it. I've seen some other promoters where it's like you can't even talk to them.
Yeah,
you try to talk to them, they're just like, no, just rock up on the night. This is what we agreed upon. Whatever. With him, dude, even me, if I've got a question, if I have a query, if I have anything I want to put forward. Here's it like no tomorrow.
Awesome.
Because he's the one that gave me the gig of, he goes one day, he goes, Chris, I got an idea. Come down to the Waynes. And I'm like, all right. And he goes, here's a mic. Interview the guys. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that was sick. And it was another way.
I did see that actually. Yes.
Yeah, when I'm out there and I'm interviewing.
Yes.
That one I was nervous about because I'm like, man, I've got to do interviews. I've never done this before.
Was there a guy that was just didn't say anything, or was that not
you?
There
was,
yeah.
That I because we went to the room to do the interviews and I'm like, hey, what do you think of your match? And he just went, yeah. What? And then I'm like, this guy's actually not talking. And then I was like, no, I'm gonna have some fun with this one. And then the first take didn't go. And I go, let's do it one more time. He goes, And I'm like, so do you have anything to say? And he goes, no. And I'm like, all right, man, a few words. But dude, man, he was a killer. He went out there and he was like, again, he had a story to tell. So like people are invested in that sort of thing. He's a character.
Yeah, there's mystique. You're like, what is going on?
Oh, dude, no, he was great. And he went out there, destroyed his opponent, and he's a fun one to watch. I hate it because I forget his name.
No, that's right. Yeah. The silent killer is what his name is.
Yes.
We're rebranding him.
Yes.
But yeah, so it sounds like just the community in general is very tight-knit.
In jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Ah, big time, man.
What's the community like? Yeah.
Because you got to consider jiu-jitsu. How long would you think a member will last in jiu-jitsu? Like just the everyday person.
I'd say 9 months.
3 to 6 months.
Okay.
So you're not far off.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that come and go. If you've been doing it I've been doing it now 10 years. I've seen a lot of people come and go.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah.
There's not many of us that have hung around. So
The OGs.
yeah, not even the OG. Like I'm still only 10. It's been around for years.
Yeah, true.
So the people that hang around, I reckon, longer than 5 years start to get noticed. You start to realize, like, oh, hang on, that's that guy. I see him at all the comps. That's that guy. I see him at all the comps. You start to make friends with people. You see each other all the time. I know I go out and I make an effort to meet people. So I'll see heaps of people at comps, but it's always going to be the same group because you're not going to get any other 10-year-old people doing it for 10 years still floating around. So it's always going to be the same people. So yeah, of course, it's going to make a tight-knit community.
Yeah.
And then over the years, the next person will level up to we've been doing it for a while
But
level.
is there I don't mean you as an individual, but is there kind of that, not elitism, but are you worthy of becoming in a circle? Is there a bit of...
there are people out there like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to I don't want to mention...
Drop the fucking names, Chris.
Oh, no. Because I put some stuff on Instagram before and I've been in trouble by people for having an opinion that didn't go with theirs.
How dare you have an opinion?
But it's a certain group of people in jiu-jitsu that stick together. They've got a real old school mentality and maybe they're going to figure it out and hate me for saying it, like what I'm sort of trying to say, but they're almost like they're the sorry.
That's right.
They're the cool people at school.
Yeah,
they're the
yeah.
ones that if you want to talk to us, you got to be this and that, and they got all this. It's like a cult by that stage. And you're like, man, it's a hobby that we love to do, and we just do it every day.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say there's like an elitism at all. If anything, jiu-jitsu is one of the only sports where you can go and talk to the world's best.
Yeah.
Like, I know this has been said before, so it's not coming from me, but if you play basketball, you cannot go and talk to LeBron James every weekend.
That's so true, bro.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is fucked.
If you go to a comp here and you see Craig Jones, you can run up to him and say hi. Or you see you go to the Worlds in LA and you'll see Andre Galvao walking around. You'll see the greats just walking around coaching their guys. If you go and, hey man, can I have a photo? They go, yeah, fuck yeah. They'll have a little chat with you.
Yeah.
I was, when I was in Vegas for Masters Worlds a few years ago, Link was there too. So I was training with him and a few other guys. The people that were on that mat, world legends.
Yeah.
And we're training with them. You can't get that in any other industry. So that's why, I don't think there's an elitism. If anything, it's whatever the polar opposite is.
Yeah. It's like literally just this inclusive, and God forbid we use that word, but I'm using it the right way here. Like an actually inclusive community of support and bringing people up.
Yeah, definitely. Like if you want to go train with some of the world's best, you can.
Yeah.
You can't just one day pick up the phone and go, hey, LeBron, let's go shoot some hoops. It's well, fuck off.
But you got to be worthy as well. Like I recently met Dan the Man-Child at a comp. Same thing. I was just because I already followed him on Instagram.
Yeah.
I said hello, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he mentioned like Gordon Ryan, he's John Danaher, that's in his circle. I'm like,
of training
what
partners.
the fuck? I'm like, and I'm just talking to you here. Like it's you hit the nail on the head that it's it's a welcoming place. It seems like all the way up the chain. That's insane.
Yeah, and with Dan, he's actually one of my first training partners.
Oh yeah,
So we both came from the same
small
gym.
world, bro.
And it's such a small world. Like we said, anybody longer than 5 years of training, we've all crossed paths.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sick, man. What else did I have for you? Sorry, apologies, you caught me off guard.
I'm like, Dan, stop.
Yes. Pretty much. Oh yes, controversial. No, I'm trying to get controversial ones. It's not. Open mat's a waste of time.
Yes and no. So you're like, man, just say something controversial.
No, it's good.
Now, so open mats are a tool. They're a tool that can be used for getting better at jiu-jitsu, or they can be a tool used just to socialize.
Which could still strengthen the community, I guess.
Yeah, or you just got nothing better to do on a Friday, and you're like, fuck, I gotta go to open mat and just sort of linger on the side. But that might take away from the guys wanting to train hard.
Okay, good point. Yeah.
So it depends what kind of open mat you want to run. Some gyms have a great one. You go there and it's like, cool, we're doing rounds. And it's rounds. Other ones are like, yeah, it's open mat. There's the mat. Figure it out. We'll put a timer on. You want to follow it. You don't. We don't give a fuck. So it can be something that really does make your jiu-jitsu better, or it's literally just a space with mats.
Literally.
Like
well, when you put it like fucking that.
Yeah. So, man, like, you know, I sometimes go to open mats. Sometimes I don't. Like, I'm not a real big, you know, I'll take the day off if I have to. I prefer structure. But open mats, yeah, it's something where, yeah, it does have its place.
Yeah.
But again, you got to do it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you may as well just go to the pub and have a beer. Like, if you just want to socialize.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And then in terms of the community itself, so you said you've been there a while. And it's a big thing is it's gotten so much bigger. So naturally, the dynamics of it's going to change as well. Have you noticed any changes for the better or for the worse? Like, what do you like and what do you dislike about any changes, if any? Sorry.
Something that I believe, and I know I'm guilty of it, is social media is changing the scene of jiu-jitsu.
Huge point. Yeah.
Not only like, you know, you got Gordon Ryan trying to create a character and trying to play, you know, the bad guy or the good guy or whatever. He did a really good job at it. But also now people do a whole lot of stuff just to post about it. I'm guilty of it. I know I'll do like, you know, I'll compete. And my first thing is like, I better put a highlight up. I'm not going to say it's a bad thing. If it motivates me to train and compete, I'll keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm very guilty of it. My coach laughs at me all the time. He goes, you wouldn't do half the stuff you do if you couldn't put a photo up on it, you know, later on.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it. If it wasn't for social media, I reckon jiu-jitsu wouldn't be as big.
Well, I wouldn't know you. I wouldn't have met so many people. Like Jordan, my first guest, through social media. Like there's definitely the positives to it as well.
Yeah, so there's positive. There's also negative. Like, you know, you've got the fact that people are doing it for the wrong reasons, like just for the clout, which, again, fair enough. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But it's helped jiu-jitsu grow.
Yes.
Because regardless of what the reason is that you want to put stuff up, you're going to train. And then more people are going to see it. And then more people are going to want to try it. And then jiu-jitsu just gets bigger as a whole.
Yeah.
So I think in social media has probably been one of the biggest things that's changed over the last 10 or so years. It was around back then, but I think now with the power of, you know, Reels, TikTok, short form content.
as well.
Sponsorship. But I think short form content now, because back then it was, you know, you got to put your whole match up and it was a bit like whatever. Now you can literally pick your highlights. Just post highlights and you're a mad dog.
Yeah.
And then you put that up and you get all these, you know, followers and, you know, all that sort of stuff. And man, people love that sort of stuff.
It just goes off essentially. Yeah,
it just goes off. Yeah.
But no, that's a really good point actually. But it also translates in general. You honestly, you picked, that was a bang on, because in social media in general, you start to lose sense of when you start posting things, it's, am I posting it for myself? Like, I feel like as soon as you post something, that internal relationship with that thing, you've almost commodified it, externalized it, and you've put it out as content.
Yeah.
And then I don't know anymore what becomes like real for me or just real for fucking the internet.
Yeah.
So, I guess a part of it's just navigating that. But I would say net positive for the jiu-jitsu world, the social media. I think it falls in that.
Yeah, like you know, businesses can advertise, businesses can promote themselves. Whereas before, if you wanted to, it's not even that long ago, you wanted to see any jiu-jitsu, you'd have to get some sort of VHS tape and, you know, bootleg it to get any form of instructional content. Whereas now, man, you just click, click, click. You got Gordon Ryan teaching you.
Yeah, literally, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah. So it's only going to keep getting bigger and better. And jiu-jitsu is still going to stay jiu-jitsu. You can't fake it. So that's the only I reckon the only thing where no matter how fake the world can get, jiu-jitsu will always remain real.
Yeah.
Because you can't fake the mats. Like, you are only as good as you are on the mats. So, you know, everybody else can pretend to be whatever they want to be. Fitness influencers, I reckon, are the worst. They put so much shit out that you just know isn't good.
Yeah.
But because they're ripped, shredded, blasting all the steroids in the world.
There's nothing proving them wrong because their thing is the look.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
and they can put up anything. They can say eat 15 eggs a day and, you know, you get shredded, or, you know, lift a log, or, you know, take a shit, or whatever it is. But jiu-jitsu, man, if you put out a bullshit technique and you try to say that's going to win you the worlds, and it won't, you'll get exposed. So, yeah, I think jiu-jitsu is safe in the social media world.
Gravitate towards, and that's the other thing that, like, there's such a lack of authenticity in the world, and especially on social media, that when you see it a bit, like, people just latch on. And I think that's a part of everything you've just said kind of captures why, for some reason, jiu-jitsu is just like won everyone's hearts over.
Because it's real.
It is real,
People right now, I think, need real jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. How do you navigate like cooperation versus competition between the gyms? Like you want to help other gyms, but you don't want them to be the best. How do you kind of navigate?
No, I reckon with like gyms are all just area based. So, you know, like if there's another gym out there somewhere, if there's another gym, you will always wish them the best.
Yeah.
But like I've never, like the gym I'm at now, there's zero of the thought of like, oh, I don't want them to be better.
Yeah, okay.
But you want them to be better because then you can go train with them and get better.
Yeah.
But the old gym I was at was a little bit different where like, you know, you weren't really meant to train at other gyms and it was that like cult-like mentality where, you know, we're going to keep all our techniques to ourselves and...
Well, yeah, that's it.
It's a bit more toxic.
Yeah.
But I think it just depends. Every gym's a bit different. I know the sort of because immersion, dominance, we're all under the same sort of banner, the same family. So we're all kind of together and we all have the same mindset of growth.
Yeah.
We all train together. We all want everybody to get better. So I don't think there's ever any sort of competition.
Yeah.
It's all cooperation. Yeah.
And what's the saying, like fucking iron sharpens iron or whatever the fucking thing is.
Yeah.
But it's so true in that the better they are, if you really want what's best for yourself, even completely selfishly, you should want the best for the other so that you can be better and have the actual best version of yourself.
Yeah, we all get better together. If you don't, and you just want to be on top of the world and you want everyone to be here, you're going to remain sort of mediocre. Tall poppy syndrome.
What?
Isn't that? Have you heard of tall poppy syndrome?
I don't know that one.
I think it's a big in Australian culture where as soon as you see somebody succeeding, you rip them straight back down.
Oh, is that like a certain flower or something that if it grows too much, something will take its head off? Or,
I never looked into the science of it.
No, not science. I don't know what a tall poppy is.
Neither do I, actually. I've just heard it used. I think it's a flower that gets really tall. But I think the concept and the idea is that in a community, if you see somebody excelling, you're going to, straight away you think, well, what are they doing? They're shifty. Something's not right with what they're doing. Let's fucking bring them back down.
Yeah.
Whereas I know in a lot of other cultures, America's great. Like everybody get good quick. Let's all get better together. I think here people don't really like seeing success. Everybody needs to be on the same playing level field.
Yeah, and it's weird because we were mentioning before the podcast about travel and just showing gratitude for the country that we live in as well. I feel like a part of that as well is we have so much opportunity here. You know, like there's always just a window to kind of break through that success barrier. Why would you not want the people around you to make that jump? I still can't fathom that, you know?
Yeah, it's something I don't understand, but I think it does happen. You'll see anybody, when they get successful, they start to grow, there's always going to be people trying to cut them down. And I think because we're in such a small, Australia's not that big.
Yeah.
So I think anybody that starts to reach anything, people will try to rip them down. I hate that.
Yeah. No, it's not the, if you want to live your life that way, sure, but...
yeah, it's not good. It's toxic.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, have fun with that.
Yeah. Gym loyalty. When is it okay to change gyms, and at what point is it considered betrayal?
Man, that's a really cool one. And if you're a paying member at the gym, you leave when you're not receiving the service that you're paying for.
Bang on, yeah.
Yeah, and going into the emotional side of things, there is coaches that use the coaches that try to guilt trip you, coaches that try to use emotion to try to keep you in, they're missing the point. You got to realize, like, a gym opens up as a business.
Yeah.
A gym opens up, obviously, to make money. The person who runs it needs to feed his family. So you're going to provide a service that people are going to pay for. If you stop providing them that service, they have every right to leave.
But so by that logic then, is it okay if I've reached the top of a gym and I say, hey, I'm not being sharpened anymore, I need to go to another gym that's, quote, better? Isn't that somewhat a betrayal, or that's okay, or?
That's fine.
Yeah.
But it's something that you've been paying for that service. So you've kept up your end of the bargain the whole time. Yes, they put time into you, but you've been paying for that time.
Yes, yeah.
So I do understand the loyalty side of things. I do understand that you do build a relationship and they do put in a lot of work. But on the flip side, if you got to go, you got to go.
Yeah.
And usually people leave for a good reason. They're not just going to be like, yeah, we're really good friends. I really like what you've been teaching me. I'm going to go. They have a reason.
Yeah.
So, if you got to go, you got to go. That's why I hate gyms that have lock-in contracts.
Yeah.
It's like you don't know what's going to happen in 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, whatever the term is. But I'm always like, if you got to go, yes, we should try to dive deeper into why. Maybe it's something we can work on.
Can we work on it? Yeah, because it is a relationship. At the end
Yeah,
of
so
the day.
like, you know, if someone's going to leave, the one thing I do recommend is talk to the person, talk to the coach about it first. Go, look, I'm thinking of leaving for A, B, and C. If they give you a sufficient answer, cool, move forward. Bring it up early before it's too late as well. I've seen a lot of people not mention the issue.
Yeah.
Let it fester, let it build up, and then it gets too big that they just go, you know what, fuck it, I'm out. And by that point, there's no fixing it.
Yeah.
But if the issue comes up early, so if you have the issue within yourself early and then you go to the coach with it and then you address it, and because it's so minor, it's an easy fix. Cool.
Yeah.
You have that student forever. But it's also the coach's job to make the student feel comfortable that he can do that.
Yes, exactly
So
right.
there's so many variables in that where it's not like an easy, like, can I leave the gym, yes or no? But at the end of the day, it does come. If they're giving you free membership for it, different story. Then but no one does that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah. It is a business.
It is a business. So as long as you're getting that service, that's fine. But the reason you're going to leave is because you don't feel like you're getting that service anymore. So you can leave, it's fine, but bring it up first.
Yeah, and a good gym, as you just said, will make it kind of the space where you're comfortable to do so and bring it up.
And usually those gyms have good people on the mats too, so you're not going to leave.
Yeah, it's
so
it's
if you are
positive
leaving that
feedback.
gym,
Yeah.
there is a reason, and it might be that gym's just not that good
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
And kind of goes back to initially, these are the small things where you say jiu-jitsu helps you with life. It helps you with the coach, which we in this instance can call like the authority in the room. Just coming up to them, communicating, hey, this is a relationship. This is what I'm feeling. Can you help me? Can you not? You know, so
In real life too.
exactly.
With the
yeah,
misses, if you don't bring up little things right
No,
away,
exactly. Yes.
and you let it build up,
Yes.
boom.
Yes. Mhm.
And then there's no fixing it. But if you deal with the small things when they come up straight away, man, you're never going to have a big fight. There's never time for a big fight. You
Yeah.
fix it all early.
How good.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. You're also a coach.
Yes.
Yes. What's coaching mean to you? Because you're coaching the next generation. Is it?
Yeah, so with the coaching, that sort of I think that's a natural progression in jiu-jitsu. You get to a certain point where when the coach needs to go on a holiday or is away or he's sick, he's going to get the next, not the next person, but one of the senior students to take class. So that started taking class, doing all that. And then from there, you start to pick up private lessons.
Yeah.
So it gets to the point where people come to you for one-on-ones because, you know, my coach won't do them. He's just like, you know what, I got too much going on, the business, family, whatever. So I'll take him on board. Then that changes because now you're looking after people individually. Everybody's got different goals. Going back to, you know, how you said at the start what I want to work on, being diverse.
Yes, you did say. Yeah.
Everybody's got a different goal. You can't give them a cookie cutter approach. You can't just go like, all right, everybody's going to do arm bars this week. You got to work out everybody's goals.
Yeah.
And that's something that's really started to take effort, but it's also the kids' classes. So, you know, the adults are easy. They're fine. Like you tell them jiu-jitsu, they do jiu-jitsu. Kids, it's like, look over here. You got to like bring them back in. You got to, you know, they see something sparkling there. They're wandering over there. So it's a skill in itself to coach kids because not only do you have to keep their attention, you got to still teach them a skill. That's two different things you're trying to do at once.
Yeah. And then, almost like parent them on top of that as well.
Yeah, and make sure they're not, you know, they've got their own issues. So you got to like almost not life coach them, but help them out through whatever they're going through. Make sure they're, you know, happy. And a lot of parents just dump them there and leave. They treat it like it's a childcare, so they don't care if they're learning jiu-jitsu or not. So it's kids is a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah, there's a lot to go into there with the kids.
Yeah.
How do you deal with any overbearing parents who might question your methods of coaching?
Yeah, I'll stamp it out right away. Like, I'll just go, if you don't like it, that's fine. But I've got a really direct approach with coaching. Like even like if a kid, because kids will always test you. As in like, you know, if there's a new coach on the mat, you'll see some kids cry all of a sudden. Like they're like, I'm injured. You got to stamp that out.
Yeah.
So nobody cries on the mats anymore. Like
Not on my mats.
Yeah, not on my watch. No, but like, you know, like you got to sort of be a hard ass, but at the same time, be playful and fun. Like I always play with the kids. I always, you know, run around with them, play tag and whatever it is before and after class. But during class, they know we're here to do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And again, I've never ever had a parent ever come up to me and say like what you're doing is wrong.
Okay, good.
I've had a lot come and say like we really do and like they really do like the like no bullshit approach to it.
Awesome.
Because there's been many a times where kids will try to push boundaries. And there's been times I've grabbed his kindergarten cop by the scruff of the neck, picked him up. I've done that a few times.
By the leg.
Yeah, but I'll grab the back of the gear, I'll pick him up and I'm like, stop. And then they're just like, that was fun. Let's do it again. And then, like I won't ever push it too far where they're freaked out and scared and crying. But when I raise my voice, hey, no, it's...
Yeah, you're the authority.
Yeah. Like there's times where you're in the line, everybody's like fucking around. And then all of a sudden my voice goes, hey. And then they're just like, oh, okay,
he's serious.
We get it now.
Yeah.
So I'll be fun. But when I'm stern, they get it. Yeah.
That's a testament to the, like we say BJJ community, that includes the parents. Like they're coming into that as well, knowing what the community is. So it's great to hear what you just said, that they're not coming in like, I'd imagine that a tennis coach or like, or maybe I'm just being judgmental, but it kind of brought it back full circle that everyone knows that jiu-jitsu is real and authentic. And you know what you're putting your kids in there for, which is
but also
awesome.
I do understand and respect that parents are not handing over their kids, but we're responsible for people's children. I always respect that because I understand that, trusting your kid with somebody else in a grappling martial art, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
Like jiu-jitsu is not like the space is gone. Sometimes you're with kids and there's some, you're in side control on top of a kid. It's like, so I respect that a lot. So the fact that the parents are letting their kids come do jiu-jitsu, I'm going to give them the best experience that they can. So I'm going to try to teach them the best way, try to discipline them the best way, all with the respect of the parents and almost showing gratitude that they're bringing their kids to do this sport.
Yeah, and making sure, like, safety obviously is the big one.
Yeah.
Because
they just... And that's why I'm also very big on when a kid's crying, I got to go, look, are you actually injured or are you just seeking attention? Because if you're just seeking attention, it's a boy who cried wolf.
Fuck, what a battle that you need to go through.
Man, every day.
Yeah, seriously, because in the event that they usually cry wolf, but now they're injured, like, you need to kind of dance that fucking battle of what's going on.
And I'm touch wood, I've been doing it for a while and I've never actually got it wrong. Yeah, touch some wood. And I'll tell kids off, like sometimes they're rolling and they're screaming. They're going, making sounds. And I'll walk over and I'll stop and I go, dude, stop. Because you scream, I think you broke something.
Yeah.
Did you? Like, I make sure they didn't.
Yeah.
They're like, no. I go, well then, if you keep doing this, you will break something one day and I will not come and help you. What do you want?
Yeah.
And then they're just like, oh yeah.
Have you heard of the boy that cried wolf?
Yeah.
Seriously, but
it's that exact same story in the kids' class. And then once you stamp it out, everybody's pretty good.
You are the father figure almost.
I think it's because I'm loud. Like, I think kids, they like, they like, loud things and loud people. And I think I'm just a loud, out there sort of extroverted person. That kids are almost drawn to it, like for the entertainment factor.
True.
And I think that kind of helps keep them
in check.
Yeah.
Line up.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's a how long have you been doing it? The coaching?
Maybe 6 years.
Oh wow, decent, man. Like, fair enough. I feel like the world in general is somewhat going a bit soft. I feel like that's a kind of given. We can all feel that a bit. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. Has that translated in jiu-jitsu?
As in people getting soft?
Well, do you feel like there's essentially are we handing out medals for participation awards? Do you feel like that's happening?
Now this actually goes into some parents have actually quit the gym because of this. They expect the stripes. They expect the grading to get a stripe. And it's like, no, you need to tick off certain boxes.
Yeah.
We will not give you a stripe just for, look, at Wipeout, the first couple, showing up. Get it. But after that, it's like, you got to prove that, you're at a certain skill, you're at a certain level to do it.
Yeah.
And we've had people like, no, they're not even going to listen to it. But a mum had the kid, brought the kid to the gym. About 10 years between those two things. Brought the kid to the gym, trained, came in. What was it? Yeah, came in, kid trained, got to like a grey belt level. Took like 6 months to a long time off. Came back, and maybe 2 weeks after that, we had a grading. Kid obviously didn't get a stripe. He hasn't been there long enough.
How dare you?
Yeah, no, dude, it was a Karen of a mum. Comes in, so excuse me, my son didn't get the stripe. And I'm like, well, no, but he's at this level. And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, but like, again, minimum, this much training and whatever is what we ask. She ends up going, oh, look, we're going to cancel. And I'm like,
wow.
Fine. I'm like, I'm not going to
Good riddance, honestly.
That's fine. Like, we don't need sort of those sort of members at the gym. And she cracked such a hissy fit where it's like, oh, no, man, we're not going to get like bullied into giving your kid a stripe.
Literally bullied, yeah.
Yeah, and that happens a lot. Adults do it too. They'll quit if they don't get a stripe. And I'm like, oh, you guys are messed up. But yeah, going back to what you were saying about participation awards, I hate that. we got to sort of cut that stuff out.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it is like the world's getting so soft that, they're going to get those participation awards up to a certain point. And then they're going to meet the real world.
Exactly.
And then in the real world, man, when you got to pay your tax, it's like, I can't. Can I have a participation award?
Or like a competition. Like as well, you kind of want to some degree, stall out the belt you're on so that you can start running the game that you're on that belt.
Yeah, there's no rush.
Yeah, why the rush? You're going to get there. And if the belt doesn't instantly mean you got better if you're kind of...
You're still the same person. No matter what belt's around your waist, you are still the same grappler you were without that belt.
Well, sorry, on that, is there a mentality shift when you do get the belt, though? Sure, is there not some element of it?
Oh, big time.
Yeah?
Yeah. So, like, you go from white to blue, that's probably one of the biggest achievements in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Because it's your first belt. And it's like, how hard you work to get there. And you get that blue belt, and this is the fucking best day.
Yeah, I'm one of you guys now.
Yeah, I'm in the group.
I'm a big boy now.
But then that quickly changes and you're like, oh, fuck, jiu-jitsu's hard.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I got to do this again to get my purple belt. Man, that's why people quit. Because they realize blue belt blues. You've heard of that?
Yes.
Yeah, so people get to you're like, so a lot of people quit either the 3-month mark, 6-month mark, or blue belt. Because what they realize is, first thing it might just be that was their goal. Get a blue belt, I'm done. Cool, fair enough. It's a quick 2-3 year goal.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the people that are like, jiu-jitsu is my life, they get their blue belt, then they go, oh, this is a long life that I've chosen. Then reality sinks in, and then they're like, oh, maybe I can't do this, because it is a huge commitment.
Yeah, a commitment. Exactly. Yeah.
So, you do feel the pride when you get your blue belt, but then you almost feel that, you also sometimes feel shame, because you're like, I'm still the same person I was at white belt.
Imposter syndrome kind of
thing.
thing.
You're like, I don't feel any different. I'm still getting subbed by the white belt that subbed me last week.
Yep.
So there's all that runs through your mind.
I've heard like other people's energy towards you shift as well. You have
a target on your back now.
Yeah, target on your back.
Yeah, or maybe that white belt that didn't get his blue, he hates you now because you got your belt. But those white belts, you become the new measuring stick.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, so now you are the guy that got his blue belt, so that's the measuring stick. Those
I tapped
white
that
belts,
blue belt. Yeah.
And then and you'll see it all the time. I watch it in class. Like the white belt would roll with the new blue belt. As everyone, they're looking up at us.
I do that though.
Are you watching? Are they watching? And when they watch, sometimes I'll leg them on because I know the ones that do it, and I'll look at him and I'm like, hey, we're watching.
Yeah.
He's just fucking going hard at it and sending things, and you're just like, hey, manipulated you.
Yeah.
But man, that's just the way it is. People love that stuff.
Feel my presence, yes.
Yeah. Then you get your purple, and that's when you're like, oh, cool, I'm doing jiu-jitsu for life now. And then brown was pretty cool too, but I think by that point you've got so many grades and belts. Like now stripes you don't get the same feeling of a stripe now as what you did at white belt.
It's not a rush.
Yeah, that first white belt stripe.
Yeah, like fuck.
Yeah, this is great. Now you get a stripe, you're like, appreciate it, thanks.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I haven't got a black
Classes
belt.
end, see ya.
Yeah, I haven't got a black belt yet, so I can't comment on what I reckon that's going to be the next, obviously it's the biggest milestone there is. Blue belt, black belt. Yeah.
The fucking rush would definitely hit there.
I reckon I'll cry.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah, big time.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you've gone 10 years straight out.
Yeah.
That sounds like it would be the ultimate satisfaction, really.
Yeah.
And then, it'll go back to remember the times you wanted X.
Yes. And like I said in the commentary, I'll blow a load.
Yes, it's full circle, full fucking circle.
Yeah.
On the inverse of like overbearing parents, have you noticed or have you experienced any parents that are so harsh and expecting so much greatness from their children that it borders on this almost abuse level? Or?
Yeah. It's tough to see sometimes because obviously you can't step over the line and tell the parent how to parent.
Exactly, yeah.
There was one time I saw a kid, he was crying, he didn't want to jump on the mats, he was bawling his eyes out, and the dad's like, get on the mats, and the kid's like, I don't want to do it. Even the ref was uncomfortable. The ref's like, I'm not going to let the kid on if he's crying.
Yeah.
And he's looking at me, and I'm like, oh man, I'm not having any part in this. And then the dad's like, no, he'll get on. And the kid's the ref's like, look, you got to clean him up. Like he's just sobbing snot everywhere. Yeah. They cleaned him up, and the kid went on the mats traumatized.
How old are we talking?
Like 4 or 5, like young. And the kid's shaking. I'm looking at it. I'm shaking my head.
That's actually abuse, man.
Like, and man, that really upset me. And I even said to the other coach, I'm like, dude, this is actually really not cool. And then they rolled, and the kid and the ref goes, if he cries, I'm going to end it. Like, that's a sub. I'm not going to make him. They rolled. When he was on the mat, he was good. Like, he felt good. But then he started to cry again. Like, I think the slightest attempt at a sub, he started to cry. Ref ended it. And I'm like, dude, that kid's not going to want to do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, or love you. Like you
yeah. And I'm like, that was uncomfortable to see. The worst is when I've seen parents get so not invested, they just start yelling at the ref and start saying you made the wrong call. Parents who don't know jiu-jitsu, might I add,
of course,
are going, my kid did it, and then the kid's in the middle, embarrassed, going like, oh, shut up. And you see it, and it's like, oh, dude, you got to like calm down.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
it's
coaches
not helping the
yelling.
situation.
And man, you got to realize it's a Sunday afternoon. You're having some fun. You're grappling. Your kids are out there doing the thing that they love to do. Don't be a piece of shit.
Well, I'm fucking paying for it, mate.
Yeah, yeah. I'm paying for your shit.
I'm paying for fucking shit.
Oh, dude, it's sickening to see, but I don't know. Some parents are just evil.
It's full on, man. Yeah, because so I have a little anecdote. Once I like to go for swims, and so I'm gonna I'm a bit of a weirdo. So sometimes like I really enjoy the water, man. I just love water, straight out. Like at the beach, at the pools. Sometimes I'm just like I like to just spend time underwater because it's just like this calm. You're just floating. I almost just kind of just.
You're drowning.
Anyway, I just almost like drowned myself. I'm like, what the fuck was that? But I was underwater and I seen this like little Asian kid just swimming and it was just fucking sending it. So I popped my head up and I seen his sister like I'd say they're 8-ish. She's like running behind him and she's like timing or whatever. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And then the dad comes and he was like this stern figure. Like he was just like full on. And the little boy was like really, he did not look happy. Yeah. I'm underwater. So sorry. The reason I mentioned the underwater thing is because I forgot about him, but I was just under the water and like just kind of watching. And this poor kid, man, I seen him dive in. Like if there was clearly something happening. He was fucking not doing good enough. Yeah. Seen him dive in as I'm underwater. This kid dived in, swam, started screaming, and then he just went back up and just kept swimming. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like mind you, I'm in the corner of this pool, like, what the fuck's going on? So it's just a weird scenario.
Yeah.
And then me, the fucking narcissist, I tried to make the whole thing about me. So as soon as the kid got up, I tried to like look at him and like smile to him, like, you know, I wanted to show him, like, you know, there's niceness in the world, yeah?
Yeah.
This kid just didn't even notice me, just like, went back in the water.
Yeah.
His dad noticed me trying to smile to him. This cunt just fucking looked at me, bro, and he's not even my fucking dad. And I'm like, wow.
You started swimming.
Bro, I got out of the water. I'm not even joking. I'm like,
yeah.
Good luck. And it's just crazy experience.
But it's sad to see, isn't it? Sad, like man. Seeing parents that are just living vicariously through their kids.
Yeah, to the point where he was just like, bro, it was I have such a vivid, like he didn't even have time to cry because shit had to get done.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough. As an adult, that happens to us sometimes. But like this little kid, like, let him kid, man.
Man, he's going to work hard when he gets older.
Well, he's probably going to be successful. So, it's awesome. But that's all the more reason that like being a coach seems like an important role model. So I guess I appreciate that you even do that, or that you give it this much thought, even in the way you kind of approach it.
Like what I post online, I'm wary of because I know kids see it.
True, yeah.
So if I'm like, you know, let's say I'm having a big weekend with the boys or something like that, I'm not putting up stories of me slamming shots. Only because I know a kid that I coach might watch that and go,
yeah,
I might get fucked up this weekend.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, I'm going to try to, not that I'm putting out a fake persona, but I'm just not going to put out everything on social media because I know people see stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So you just got to be careful. There's a responsibility when you're coaching kids. That you have to be careful again of your public presence. You got to be careful what you're putting on social media. You got to always be wary that as a kids coach, you have a responsibility now.
Yeah, and the way you kind of just present yourself, and not everything needs to fucking go online. Like even with what we're doing, we're posting everything, but it doesn't. We can choose what the fuck we want to put on there as well.
Correct.
You know, so that's pretty important. How did I'm curious. What does getting sponsored look like? What's that process? Do they come to you? Do you know the business person? Is there a personal relationship? Like, what's it look like?
So I've had a little bit of a unique way with the first sponsors that I had when I was with Hyperfly at the start. So I was just really good friends with the guy. Again, I was doing his photos, his videos.
Oh, and yeah, true.
The original deal was I'll do photos, videos for him. He'll give me free gear. So I wasn't really sponsored, but, you know, I was breaking into the industry as well of taking photos and videos. Then I started to get to know him. We hung out a lot. We became really close friends. And then he goes, oh, you're sponsored. So that worked out there. In jiu-jitsu, I reckon there's two types of sponsorships. You got where you're like just sponsored by a gi brand and they look after all your equipment and apparel and all that sort of stuff. But it's not like you're sponsored by Nike where they're paying for all sorts of stuff for you. Some people at the highest level, yes, that's what it's like. But most people at the more sort of local level or even slightly international level, you're going to find a brand that you mesh well with, and then you're just going to sort of advertise their stuff. For some people, there might be money involved. I'm not too sure.
How's the finding? Like, who finds who? And by the way, side note, next question also is like, how I'm trying to learn how to apply it to the podcast. Like, did you look for them or?
Nah, so like with the Modified Apparel, I absolutely love these guys, by the way. Got to give them a quick shout out.
Yes, of course.
We just met at an event. And this was around the time that I was leaving the other brand because Jordan, the one that used to run it, he parted ways with Hyperfly. So I was like, I was there for Jordan. I wasn't there for the brand.
Yeah.
I met Luke at an event. We got to talking. Awesome dude. We really clicked well. And then it came up where I'm leaving Hyperfly, and he goes, "Oh, you're thinking about another sponsor?" And I was like, "Not really. Like, I'm not really too fast." And over the months with him, it was when I saw his work ethic and all the effort he puts into. He's at all the grappling industries. Like, he just drove to Brisbane from here not long ago, and that's what I loved. And I was like, "Look, I know it's a brand new brand, so I'm not expecting heaps, but I want to work with you. I want to see if my influence can help build your brand. I'd rather work with him than just be a number in a bigger brand." Like, I don't want to say bigger brand meaning they're not big, but a brand that's been around longer.
I know what you mean. Yeah, like, I think that came across. I understand what you're saying.
So when there's a brand that's got like 100 athletes, cool, they might be able to look after me with more stuff, but I have no influence on them.
You're not growing with them. And if you do, you're kind of in the inner circle as it grows. It's kind of like a trust thing as well for the future as well.
Yeah, whereas with this, I saw, and he, I don't think he had anybody at a brown belt level as an athlete. I'm like, man, I'd love to work with you. And I believe that I can bring more to the table because you're a brand that's maybe a year and a half old or 2 years.
Yeah.
So then we clicked really well. And then, he's been nothing but good for me. Like, you gave me custom gear and all that sort of stuff. So for me, a sponsorship is more of a relationship in that way.
Yeah.
As for some other sponsorships that I've got, they've all come to me.
And on that, is the transaction that you're giving back that you'll compete, or is it now social media based that you'll show them? What are you giving back to them?
Yeah, so this was actually really cool where he gave me no KPIs. He just goes to me, he goes, "You're a part of the brand. The more you sort of promote it, the more you help us grow, the more we can work with you."
Of course.
So it's like, we're not going to hold a gun to your head and say, "You're going to fucking post 3 posts a day."
Yeah.
That starts to become inauthentic. It's like when you post something about the brand, you did it because you wanted to do it, because you actually believe in the brand. So he's got that. I think his business coach said that wasn't the best way to do things, but it's going to build an authentic relationship with not only the athlete, but also the community.
Yeah.
Because it might be a slower way to do it, but people start to build trust.
Yeah.
And you're like, "I need a new gear, I'll go to Modified Apparel."
Well, even in a podcast where the host is asking the athlete, you've just 100% shined naturally, authentically the best light on them right now.
Yeah, and it's not like, they've never told me to do anything. I've done it all out of my own free will. They didn't say you have to wear a jumper like this today. I did. And then going back to how to approach and get sponsors, I haven't really reached out. I've put up a lot, because I was putting up a lot of content. I need to get back into it with Instagram, putting up a lot of those reels, videos.
Yeah, I like them, man. They're good, yeah.
So with that going around, brands started to reach out. They were like, "Oh, look, you're a figure in the industry." I don't want to talk myself up in that way, but your eyes come to you.
Yes, you are a figure in the industry.
Yeah, and then a brand will be like, "I want to work with you for these reasons. We'll send you some stuff. Just promote it." And I've done that with a few different people. I've had some odd ones as well. Like, I had to do some chicken cubes.
Yeah, send us your feet photos.
And I'm like, "Oh, fine, if you want, send me some socks. I'll do whatever you want." But, it's all been quite. With me, I've never really. It's all been not generic. What's the word? Authentic. It just happened.
Yeah.
I've never gone out and reached out for anybody, but everybody I'm working with now, it's a really good relationship. But I knew if I went out there and I had to tick boxes and do all that, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, you've lost the relationship element, which sounds kind of at the core of this.
Yeah, but also like I understand people need sponsors fund things.
Well, that's where I'm at now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm fortunate in the career that I have in construction, but the more I want to progress this, the more I'm like, wait, it's just expense after expense. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, so I'm in that mindset of I need to professionalize this and treat it like a business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Moving forward.
So I think, like, are you thinking of approaching people or like?
So my rule from the start was until I hit 20 episodes, I'm not going to approach anyone.
Yeah.
So I need to at least have 20 episodes of a track record, and then I'm going to start considering like maybe going to companies and saying, hey, who owns it? What's your story essentially? And I can kind of create a figure out of a company, and then see if those relationships start to kind of.
I think you just got to keep building a network.
Yeah.
Like with me, I'm over the years since like Wipeout days, just taking photos and videos at every gym. I believe I've met nearly everybody in the industry. So I feel like I can reach out if I need help with something, and I know somebody in the industry can help me, whether it's an electrician or an accountant or someone that works at the bank to help me get a loan for my home.
Oh, true, because everyone's got their actual life.
Everybody's got a life out there. So that's why another reason why jiu-jitsu is really cool is you meet people in all walks of life. So that's for me, I've been blessed in the sense of I've networked quite well.
Yeah.
I've never ever pushed boundaries and asked for things I shouldn't ask for. But whenever I need something like an electrician to come over, I'm like, oh, I've got a list of people I can ask. Hey, man, you want to come help out? To get my home loan, I needed help. I went to the guy at the bank because one bank was like they kind of broad stroked it. They didn't really look at it properly. And then I'm like, oh, can you help me out? And he spent extra time, help me out. So I reckon you keep building a network. That's the best advice I can give for anything.
Yeah.
Build a really strong network. A podcast I listen to, the Jordan Harbinger Show. He always says, build the well before you're thirsty.
Okay.
And that's stuck with me.
Oh.
So you're always building a network. That's just what you should always try to do. And then when you are thirsty, it's there.
Yeah. And bro, all the more reason I promote podcasts is by default of what we're doing, to make a podcast, you need to network. You need to expand for the podcast to even exist. So I'm not the most social by nature, like in terms of
you're social.
No, I'm really not. Like I am. I wouldn't go out of my way to make friends. Do you know what I mean? But now I'm like, oh wait, I need to make friends. You know what I mean? Like to grow. So you've fucking nailed it there. It's all about the networking.
Yeah.
And I used to be scared of that word as well, because I used to think like, oh, you're just using each other. But it's like,
again, negative stigma on the word. That's so powerful when it's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Is there like legalities or like, is there contracts and stuff that you need to get into? Are you not allowed to do certain things?
No, I've signed a couple contracts in the past with, it was like an influencer contract where they're going to give you the product to make content with, not jiu-jitsu related. They made you sign a couple of things where basically they say they own everything.
Yeah, okay.
So, whatever you put out, they own that video. Whatever you send them, they own it. They can do whatever they want with it whenever they want with it. You agree to it, cool. But they're the people you don't build a relationship with.
Yeah, it's already started rough. Yeah.
Whereas everybody else, there's no contract that says, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I've stuck with people.
That's beautiful, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess bringing it to applying the same betrayal loyalty concept about the gyms. When is it okay to change sponsors?
Oh, like for me, when I swapped from Hyperfly, that was because I was there again with Jordan, my good mate. When he left, I was done. I didn't move. I didn't even contact him. I'm like, cool. They culled all their athletes. They reached out to a few people, and I was like, cool. I'm doing my own thing now. Whatever.
For it, yeah.
Again, it comes down to the person that you are and what your goals are. If you're just trying to milk a brand for everything it's worth, when you milk them dry, move on. That's fine. If that's who you are and that's what you want to do.
Don't put it like that. But
if that's what you're trying to do.
It kind of is, yeah.
Do it. That's fine. That's who you are as a person, and that's what your goals are.
Well, to me, all right. Fuck, did I just ruin every sponsor opportunity I might have? To me, it's how we're benefiting each other, so.
Again, going against what I just said then, is if you're trying to build a relationship with them, then you probably never leave them.
Yeah.
But maybe, I don't know, maybe you find an agreement where it's like a 12-month term, and that's it. We do 12 months, you sponsor, we pay you X amount for 12 months. Cool. At the end of that 12 months, revisit it.
True.
But you should never want to leave a sponsor.
Yeah.
It's only going to be, for example, if it's for me to change to another brand, I'll never do it.
What if it's another brand that's like still aligns with your values? And it's not like the bigger always means the corporate bad guy, but what if it's a bigger brand, still aligns with your values? Can you take them on as well, or do you need to jump ship?
That, like, as in what, with offering a lot more, or something like that?
Yeah, exactly right. So same values, but they offer a lot more. Is that okay? Like,
it's sort of like the same values will be hard with a big box brand.
Okay.
Because you won't have that friendship. You won't have that relationship with them.
True. Yeah.
It depends what the offer is. Like, if the offer is going to outweigh loyalty, friendship, and, you know, the relationship we've built, it's got to be a really fucking big deal.
Yeah, fair
enough.
enough.
They have to offer a lot. Because in comparison to, if we're going to put a dollar value on the friendship and loyalty and growth together that we've made, that's a very high dollar value.
Well, they won't drop you when things get rough.
Yeah, and there's that too.
But the other one is like, you've come in for the number, so you are just a number.
You sold out.
Yeah.
That's all it comes. You're a sellout.
Yeah.
But that's, again, not a bad thing. Again, people put sellout as, oh, you're fucking, you sold out. Man, if Nike are like, oh, we're going to offer you $1 million.
Yeah, just get this vaccine, I'll take it.
Yeah. But yeah, like if Nike comes and go like, here, $1 million, I'm like, well, man, I'm probably go talk to the guys and be like, oh, look, Nike have offered me a lot of money.
I'm sucking it.
Oh, dude, man, I'm a sucker for $1. Like, far out, man. You give me $1, I'll fucking do a lot of things. But yeah, go ahead.
No, but the point lands. It definitely lands.
Yeah, but that's pretty much like, you just got to weigh things up. I am a sucker for $1. So it just comes down to
Well, it sounds like who you are is what it comes down to.
Values. If you value just money and you're looking for a sponsor, you don't care about the relationship, you're not interested in any of that, and you're doing your own thing, that's fine.
I value utility. So a part of utility is value for money.
Yeah.
So I'll still value you, but I'm expecting X amount, and that's a part of my value. I don't think that means I'm selling out, but like I think I have you kind of want to create the value. You can kind of create your value.
Yes.
Without selling out, if you know what I mean. So like, I feel like.
But again, you're selling. Like you're still selling the podcast.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing to sell out.
Yeah.
You're still selling it. You're still, they're giving money. Oh, fine. Oh, cool.
No, we're good. Sorry.
Cool. So going back to you saying, like when you find the right amount, that's it. But again, you got to make sure you're getting your dollar worth. You're not going to get someone that's like expecting you to have the logo on the video the whole time, and you got to give them 10 shout outs and they're going to give you $20.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, you got to you got to put your dollar value to it. And if it is to get a sponsorship for the reason of support, then it's a transaction.
Yeah.
You got to be able to build them business. You got to be able to grow their stuff. But that's why the guys that you do have on board, you got to believe it too. Like you're not going to get some sort of like feminine hygiene product and sell it and talk about it because you're not going to use Phatty Clean. Like, fuck, they're not going to sponsor it.
Exactly.
But if it's some like construction related thing or like men's health or whatever it is, it's something you believe in and it's something that you can bring them value and then they pay you back.
Well, that's honestly what I'm excited to do is because I am planning to grow this podcast, and when it does hit sponsor level, I want it to be, hey, I'll only accept this if you allow me to genuinely review it and to genuinely give my opinion, pros and cons.
Yeah.
If you're willing for me to do that, then it's an authentic relationship, and then I can kind of move forward with that. But yeah, good on you, man. Honestly, well played. Honestly, you're everywhere. You're in the heart of it. You'll be, if not already, becoming a pillar of the jiu-jitsu community. Do you know what I mean? So,
and that's why, like, hearing that sort of stuff always makes me like, oh, I don't know.
But I know, I agree, I get it. But you, unfortunately for you, you can't say you're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I know what you're saying.
You know the big names. You are becoming, or you are like everyone. Most people do know your name if they are a part of the jiu-jitsu community. So,
and I do appreciate that.
100%.
Like
awesome,
walking into like what's really since doing those Instagram videos, going to a comp and then having like one day I remember I had his kid Harry. Hey, his dad comes up to me and he goes, "Man, my son loves watching your videos." And he goes, "Do you mind like going saying hi and speaking to him?" And I go, "It was I was like, "What do you?" Really?
Yeah.
And then I went up to him and he was like, "Hey man, how are you?" Then later on he's like, "Can I take a photo with you?" And I'm like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Like just start, and that's again what made me realize kids listen to this. So I got to be careful again what I say.
Good point. Very good point.
Because I remember once I wanted to do a video, I'm like, "Can you jerk off before training? Is it going to affect your rolls?"
Oh, good question. Actually.
And then I'm like, ugh, maybe I shouldn't do that one. So that one was culled along with a few other ones. But yeah, you probably should. No, but yeah, then I'm like, that sort of stuff was really cool. And then that's why I'm, again, being very careful with what I say, what I do, because kids are watching, man.
Yeah.
Like, kids are watching what Craig puts up and he's talking about steroids and this and that. And the kids are like, I'll take steroids too. And it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I get he's doing it to grow his brand.
Yeah,
but
he's like the shock value, yeah.
But his target audience isn't kids. They're not the ones that watch him. I'm a kids coach, so I got to be careful what I put out there. Yeah.
Honestly, man, no, like just on a broader scale, the world is suffering. So to see good energy and you genuinely seem like your heart's in the right place, I feel like I can resonate with you. And it's nice just giving back, essentially, giving back to the community. And it's awesome. It's nice to see, man.
Yeah, thank you.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll start to hit. This has been good. I'm fucking. I was telling you, the podcast, they're consuming. It's because you're in it, you're feeling it.
Man, I didn't even realize it's been going that. I saw the time, like, what the?
Exactly. No, this is great. So yeah, I guess we'll start to reach some closing thoughts. I guess where do you see what do you see in the future for the jiu-jitsu community?
It's only going to keep growing. Like now, a lot of these shows are coming out, the pro shows where you get your super fights and all that. That wasn't around back in the day. There was only one that would run every couple of years. Now every weekend there's a super fight on this night, there's a super fight over there. So
these guys are smacking each other.
Yeah, and it's starting to grow and it's starting to evolve. And I do see jiu-jitsu becoming huge, and it already is. Like, and you got to keep in mind, jiu-jitsu still in its infancy stage. Like karate's been around hundreds of years. Jiu-jitsu, UFC 1. That's when it's been around longer than that. But I mean, like when it hit mainstream, was UFC 1. Everybody was like, "What the fuck is that? I got to learn it." That wasn't that long ago in the big picture. So we're still in the early days. So who knows where it's going to end up? When it starts being taught at schools, when it starts,
Good point. That's an interesting one.
Making it, that'll be really cool to seeing kids learn how to grapple instead of punch and kick, if they need to defend themselves. Seeing it, who knows, maybe one day in the Olympics. Probably not due to, the fact that everybody takes steroids in the industry or in jiu-jitsu. But there's so much potential for jiu-jitsu to grow. And we're only at the start.
Yeah, man. Especially in Australia, at least. Like, seeing the amount of gyms that are, like, the pillars, and they haven't even gone for that, like, long, essentially.
Yeah.
You're right. It's never too late, especially now.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about in your personal life? So you mentioned potentially starting a gym. Is that something you'd want to create, or?
I just believe that's natural progression.
Yeah. Okay.
So, like I was saying, you start coaching, you start growing that, you start doing the one-on-ones, and the next stage is run your own place.
Yeah.
So that's something not yet. That's something a bit later. Like I do want to tick off, get a black belt. I want to pretty much just that. But I want to get my black belt,
which is worthy, man.
Keep growing because I believe if you have a gym, like I know others do it earlier, but for me personally, I want to be able to do it and say, I'm the black belt coach at this gym. But that'll be the next stage.
Yeah.
Now I'm just enjoying what I'm doing.
Yeah, perfect, man.
Clients are great. The one-on-ones are great. The coaching the kids, coaching adults, looking after the gym. I'm in a really good place right now, like with all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Great to hear.
Competing when I want to compete. My body's healthy, thank God. Like a little bit sore here and there, but that's jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
What comes next, I'll accept it.
Yeah. That's the other one, man. Appreciate your health because it's you don't realize you can't taste till your nose is blocked.
Oh man, no, you're right. That's actually, I really like that one because
I kind of nailed that one.
Yeah, that one. Is that your one?
I think so, but, or not. But
let us know below.
Yeah. That's sweet, man. Well, where do you go to get your wisdom? This is my closing final thought. Where do you go to get your wisdom?
I thought all Greeks were philosophers. No, I'm joking. No, I don't know, man. Like just years of listening, I think. Like if anybody ever comes to me with anything, I'll always listen. So I've never ever turned around if somebody's trying to give me advice and not take it.
Yeah.
So I think it might just be years of that. I've been very lucky since young. I left school. I got kicked out quite early in year 11. Okay. So I straight away was thrown into the deep end with a lot of adults. Like I did my PT course with a bunch of 30-year-olds, 20-something-year-olds. I was 17. So I was always hanging around older people. So my crowd was always a step ahead in maturity.
Yeah.
So I just think over the years, you just pick things up
and pay attention. Yeah, become
just watch, pay attention, be very observant. I still do that now. If I'm in a big group, if I'm not talking, I'll just be observing. And then just seeing what people are doing, what they're up to. And I think just slowly but surely, you grow.
Yeah.
Like the first time I ever did a job that required me to call someone.
Oh, the anxiety, bro.
Man, I picked up the phone in front of the person training me. I dialed. They said, "Hello, hang up."
Yeah.
I freaked out. And I go, man, now I can't shut up. So it's a whole, just do it.
Yeah, like even in my role, it's a more management role. So I'm like, bang, bang, bang. Now I'm just like fucking, someone will send me a number to call someone.
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah. Whereas like at the start, you don't do that. But I do believe, like, I guess the wisdom is being thrown into the deep end early. Don't take the easy route. Take the hard one. If you can do that early, you'll only get better later on.
Chris Triantopoulos, everybody.
Hey, you said it right.
Yes,
Great.
I nailed it. I mean, half the time I was playing it in my
Oh, that's great.
Honestly, man, thank you for your time. Thank you for everything you're doing, man. It's been great.
Appreciate it, mate. That was great.
Awesome. And peace out. Thanks for everyone. See ya.
Us.